Am I all ready? I think I'm ready. Look at us just floating in space. Closest to space I've ever been. Aside from like Armageddon or Apollo 13.
That is awesome. I'm on the moon.
No, you're on
All
alien.
right.
We established that.
Yes. As everybody can see, we are floating in space because we've discovered fun new things that we're trying, and we're having a ball doing so. And
What happens when you get to push buttons?
well, yeah, everybody likes pushing the button, right? Push the button, push the button. But on that note, welcome to Good Flickas, home of the Good Flickas. Can you take our critiques? Let's find out. I am, of course, Matt, joined tonight, as always, by the most handsome and devastatingly debonair Ryan.
Does anyone have any gum?
Oh God, I hope you got the fact about the gum because I cannot remember what brand it is. But to answer that question, no, I do not.
You do a lot of
Gum
things.
chewing
with
is
gum,
bad, and
apparently.
Willy Wonka says it's stupid. Also joined tonight is the. This is the first time she's had the bowl of food in a few weeks now, and it just makes me so proud to welcome the ever-eating and eternally ecstatic Jen.
Oh, thanks.
I landed on ease and I was trying to go for it, but it felt pretty good. But on that note, before we get to our final member, what is it that you are eating tonight? What's in the big bowl? What's in the bowl? What's in the bowl?
What's in the bowl? What's in the bowl?
You guys
It's gonna be
want-
fun night.
Jen
It's gonna be
doesn't
fun
know.
night.
If you don't know, you don't know.
We have
It's
bread.
weed.
It's weed.
There's a whole bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
There's rice, shrimp, peas, barbecue sauce, and then some sour cream.
Okay. Yeah, a little mix, some good stuff going on in there. All right. And
I have,
there's more. Sorry, but
no.
wait, there's more.
And then in the beverage, I have Tennessee honey, Diet Pepsi, and like a splash of vanilla bean creamer. And it's like a adult float, and I love it.
Ooh, that sounds so good. I actually have a recommendation to possibly up the ante on that drink.
That's it.
They might have it in diet. If they do, I wouldn't have tried it. But the vanilla draft Pepsi.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah. It's so it's got kind of the same technology as like the Guinness cans to make it all bubbly and like it's a draft drink. So it's really like it's real creamy. Yeah, oh yeah, it's real creamy, it's real smooth, and the regular Pepsi one is okay, but the vanilla one, ooh, with that creamy Pepsi flavor, so good.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah. So you said you had was it Diet Coke and something in there? What was it with the Tennessee honey?
Diet Pepsi. And
Diet
then
Pepsi.
I have vanilla bean like coffee creamer, and I just do a little splash.
Yes. So instead of needing that coffee, like it's all in one thing, I think just boom, boom,
Ooh,
you're good to go.
that was good.
Yeah. If you do, let me know because I'm already like saliva's going. I'm like that sounds yummy.
It's like so refreshing on this hot ass day.
that honestly sounds so good. And before he puts another mouthful in, let me get to the. I'm blanking on wonderful things to say about this man. The bearded badass who brings us the musical joy for our fun facts. I lost it on the bees, but it felt pretty good at the start. Nick.
Hey, how's it going? Not too bad, Matt. I thought you were gonna say the bearded bastard.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, you went badass. Okay.
Oh no. I'm not here to like hurt you guys. God, it would felt awful if I did that. No, the bearded badass. Yeah. All right. That was a fun little thing for intros. I think I might try this again. I will say that my inspiration, I've been listening to a lot of NADPOD. So I've been feeling the rhymes. So thank you. Big shout out to those guys. Huge blast. Hopefully, hoping to see them in October. But moving on to us, because that's what I really care about. We are talking about The Rocketeer tonight. This is my pick. And I'm really excited about this one because it's a first viewing for all of you, which I was kind of hoping for. I was a little skeptical, maybe, but really excited about that. It's a first look for all of you guys. So this is going to be fun. I can't wait to hear everything you guys have to say. This was a movie that I wanted to pick before Brian was going on his trip, but because I had the 2 picks while he was gone, I wanted to wait for you, Brian. I wanted to wait for you to be here for this one and one of the full group. So this was my pick for this. So I'm excited for this one. The reason I really did pick it or wanted to pick it was because it's a Disney movie that I don't think too many people know about. And if they do, not many have actually seen. This is one of Disney's original comic book movies. And it's got a lot of big A-listers in this movie. A lot of familiar faces. Yeah. So there's a lot of reasons to like this movie, or at least be intrigued by this movie, simply because I don't think many people are aware of it, and I think they could be fans. So something to bring them to this. Before I get too into it, is there anybody who'd like to go first for initial thoughts? Ooh, awkward silence. And Nick goes with the mouthful to stave off. So Jen, I'm going with
I'll
Jen.
start us off.
All right, thanks, Brian.
I normally always do, but I want to give other people, and by other people I mean 2 other people, a shot at the plate.
I want to be the middle tonight. I'll go next.
All right, Brian, Jen.
All right. The Rocketeer, Matt, as you stated, this is one that I've never heard of. And, it's I was a little surprised because I'm born and raised on Disney. I was a big Disney fan. They've got just great movies, but it's interesting. It's like you'll have the Disney conversation, and I don't think this movie is ever brought up at all when it comes to what are your top Disney movies. It's like people, they're going to drop Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, etc. Especially if you talk about specific 90s movies. And then you even notice that Disney Channel original movies are even brought up before talking about this one. So as far as watching it, I'm glad that I watched it. I'm glad that you brought it to the Good Flickas to where we can kind of break it down and everything. And it's entertaining. I did find that it's entertaining. It's very it's got adventurous. You can't help but feel certain vibes, especially come around the time that this came out, of like different style or other movies. Ones that really come to mind right off the bat was Indiana Jones. And Raiders. It had a very Indiana Jones like feel to it. There's something that just felt off about this one, and I think I know what it is. I just don't want to do it in my initial thoughts because it's just going to instantly drive a conversation. But I think I know what's missing here, and yeah. But otherwise, it's entertaining. It definitely had more of a why I oughta feel than what I was expecting. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It wasn't earth shattering by any means. And I'm just going to, I don't want to say too much because ironically I have a lot to say later, but I don't want to jumpstart conversations right now in intro thoughts. But 3.3 out of 5.
3.3. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm really looking forward to this chat, and the fact that you're just like, I got a lot to say, like, hell yes, I'm excited. But let's keep it moving. Jen, you said you'd go next.
Yeah. So I feel like I recognize the name of this movie, but I know for a fact I never seen it. But the name sounded familiar to me. Okay, in the in the beginning, in the beginning, the music caught my attention, and I was like, we're about to go on this fun adventure. It's gonna be like, I was ready. And then that like peaceful fun turned to panic real quick. And then, I mean, I just felt like this during the movie. What made me give it a lower ranking is like there was something about it that just couldn't grasp and hook me entirely. I felt like it's almost like they were teetering between, we should make this an adult movie, we should keep this for kids. We should make this an adult movie, we should keep this for kids. And I was like, I don't know who should watch this movie. Is it little Jen or adult Jen? And so I just felt torn, and I was trying to keep in mind, like adult Jen showed up and she was like, this is whack. Like, this is for little kids. And so then little Jen would show up and it's like, no, I feel like I should be, I don't know. It was very confusing. And yeah, the acting was a bit rough for me, like quite a bit rough for me. It was interesting. It's a puzzler of a movie. It's a very puzzling movie. And it gives it a puzzling rating. So let's just go with 2.53.
I'll admit I'm somewhat surprised by these scores, but I'm not disagreeing necessarily with anything you guys are saying. So just looking forward to this chat. But I'm ready to dive in on this one. So I don't want to keep saying stuff. Nick, are you ready?
The Rocketeer. Never seen this film before, and I really enjoyed it. It has got that kind of like Disney Channel movie feel to it, but I think it still does a really good job overall. I really like the story, and just in terms of the plot and like what happens and the twists, the villains, the good guys, the support actor. Like, I love how all of that plays out in this film, and I think that some of the acting like is really good. Yeah, I think it's well shot. The writing is like decent and whatnot, but overall fun movie to watch. I gave it a 4.2.
Okay. Finally, somebody likes my movie. No, all good. No, that's great to hear. I don't necessarily disagree with anything you guys are saying and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this. I like this movie. I think it's a ton of fun. It's a blast. This movie came out in a time for Disney where if you go back and you watch the live action movies that they all have kind of this weird where it's really childish, but it's also surprisingly adult. So like it's them in this transition period. Also, you've got the wonderful world of Disney doing TV movies and stuff, and then of course Disney Channel movies. So it's this weird transitional period of where movies are finding themselves within Disney. But I love this story. I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, the fact that it's a graphic novel, I'm like, yeah, they probably just took the pages and like, bam, there you go. Like it's all pretty much there for you. And I know we'll get into the facts and stuff, but I know that the writer of the graphic novel was heavily involved with a lot of inspiration and stuff for this. So ultimately, I think its biggest downfall was this movie. The story was rushed in the sense that it takes place, I think, in a matter of like 2 days. Like it's a really fast story arc, but they get a lot done. And I think it's not a super long movie. It's pretty average for the time. And I think they did a great job of getting a full story into it and keeping it fun, energetic. Brian, you mentioned stuff about Indiana Jones. It's a great little adventure and stuff. And there's lots of connections we'll get into with that, I'm sure. Jen, you brought up the music. I'm so excited that you said something about that. We will get into that as well. And Nick, thank you for being a homie and enjoying this movie. It's very it's silly and fun. It's a fun adventure. I look forward to hearing more about the complaints because believe me, this movie is not perfect. it's one of those movies where I love this, but I wouldn't necessarily hate a reboot, which it has been talked about. I wouldn't necessarily hate a reboot or a sequel to this or a follow up in something, because at this time period, at 1991, literally when this movie came out, I did not exist on this plane of existence. I love it. They did such a great job at the time for what it is, and I'd love to see them redo it with what we're capable of now. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I gave it a 4.1, so not far off, Nick. I'm right there with you.
I think we were 0.1 off last week too.
Possibly. I was it last week too? Yeah. Hey, we're just riding that wavelength. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So it's our favorite time of the year for the bearded badass to strut his stuff.
You know, I'm liking bearded badass. I've never actually got that nickname before.
Well, now all it means is you can't shave. So I've forced you to be famous for your beard. So you're screwed.
You just used me.
I did, and all it's lending is to more Santa Claus jokes later in life. So it's the long con. I've got you.
Okay, here we go. Oh, that's actually the first line.
We'll see. Or okay, let's go.
No, I was like, here we go, as in like I'm about to start, but that's actually the first line is here we go.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm not kidding. I can't see it. Whatever.
It's all good. You just do your thing. Do your thing.
All right. Here we go. Come with me. There's a fun fact here that we should see. Have some fun. Hear my facts. With you right here, I'm a rocketeer. Let's fun fact. Up, here we go. Up, here we go. Where the facts, yeah, Brian knows. And then Matt, he will go. He will talk. Microphone, tell the facts if you really want it. Got a fun fact with your name on it. About the facts and the fun here. Just say the facts that we want to hear. Hold the fact if you're feeling scared. We're facting up out of here.
Hell yeah, we're getting cheers on that one, man. Oh, hold on. I'm hitting them all. You're hitting all the sounds because sounds, man. Sounds and applause. That was great. Talking noise. That so good. No, that was great, dude. I recognize it, but I couldn't tell you what it was. But dramatic reading, and you just casually slip into rapping. What?
It's Rocketeer by Far East Movement featuring.
It's actually called Rocketeer.
Yeah,
it's Far East Movement and Teddy, what's his name? Ryan Tedder, the lead singer of One Republic. I think his name is Ryan Tedder. Ryan Teddy?
It's the song that I actually ironically chose for the gram post today.
Oh, did you?
I haven't gotten on Instagram, so I haven't seen the post today.
Nice.
So
Brian, you knew exactly what I was.
100%.
Okay.
I knew exactly where you were going with it.
Man, I blew it. I should have listened.
Yeah, and now you know why I wasn't gonna sing that, because it's too good.
That's a note to hit.
That is a note.
All right.
I mean, I could attempt, but I don't know if you guys want to hear that.
I want to hear.
You just got a new microphone, sir.
All right. Let me clear my throat.
You can't
clear my throat.
All right.
You can't set me up like that.
All right. Here we go. Come with me. There's a fun fact here that we should see. Have some fun. Hear my facts.
We just lost 2 followers.
With you right here, I'm a rocketeer. Let's fun.
Good effort, bud. Good effort. Little cheers. Little cheers. I'm going to keep it.
Oh, wow.
Little cheers for the effort, man. I'm proud of you. It doesn't ruin the first take for me.
I know. I can't sing for shit, so.
Nor can I.
You just got to know your range, right, Jen?
Yeah. And have fun. Always have fun.
Yeah. Like if you heard me at karaoke singing that, I don't know what that would sound like.
Can we all go to
The
karaoke?
closing of a bar.
The door closing after everybody leaves.
Jen, I will tell you, I'm a lot more confident singing in front of people here, like doing this, than any kind of like karaoke bar. Like that's shit out of me.
No, let's do
Oh,
it.
man.
Promise me one day we'll go to a karaoke bar.
Good Flickas
should-
live at a
Good luck.
karaoke
That's all I'm
bar.
gonna say. Good luck. I'm a tough sell. You could get me there. Getting me to sing is going to be the real problem.
We should all go to a karaoke bar, and I give the DJ all of my fun fact songs, and we put them up on the TV, and we all sing them. Everybody's like, "Why are they talking about facts that are fun so much?"
And then
All
that's
right, guys.
how we shameless plug. Like, check us out on GoodFlickas.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the real promo. We just go to bars and.
That's right. I'm down.
Oh my god!
The Rocketeer comes out in 1991. All right. The director is Joe Johnston. He's been behind pretty good some decent works. Jen, I know you're definitely familiar with one of them called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
And then he's also directed Jumanji, the original Jumanji, which we've already done on
We should
Good
all
Flickas.
be familiar with that one.
For all the superhero fans out there, a little movie called Captain America, the first Avenger. Kind of picked up the pace with kept the story going with Jurassic Park 3. I don't remember much of Jurassic Park 3.
I think that's the one most people don't really talk about.
That's what I thought too.
I want to say, but I want to say it's Jurassic Park, Lost World, or Lost World, whatever. And then people don't really get excited about Jurassic Park again until Jurassic World.
Yeah, that's when it really revived.
What was the fourth Jurassic Park? Was it just Jurassic Park 5? Because there was 4, right? There was.
I don't think so.
Really?
Oh wait, was there like Lost Kingdom?
That sounds like it's part of the Jurassic World trilogy.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Mm.
And then the other one, which again, this is one that I haven't seen in a really long time. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal. It's called October Sky. So
I've never actually seen that one, but I did discover it that I had on VHS. So
yeah,
I'm intrigued. I don't know.
It's one of those where I saw once, and I've never had the October Sky convo with anyone. So
Is that
it's just completely out of my brain.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Leah. No, Robert De Niro's not his dad in that one, right?
I can check real quick. I don't think so.
What I'm picturing is Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm fairly certain I'm wrong. That it's
No, you've got Laura Dern, Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Owen, Chris Cooper, and that's it.
Yeah, I think the only thing I know of that movie is them setting off a rocket.
What?
Just quick thing on director, because you brought up Indiana Jones. He had directed a bunch of like the young Indiana Jones stuff, so it's like there's your connection.
There it is.
Yeah.
So Billy Campbell plays Cliff. Jennifer Connelly plays Jenny. Alan Arkin plays Peavy. Timothy Dalton plays Mr. Neville Sinclair. Does anyone know where around this time how what Timothy Dalton was known for and how famous he was for?
He looked familiar.
This was a fact for you that like I was waiting for you. I had my hand up for a different reason.
Okay. He was at this time known for James Bond.
Oh.
One of the James, I forgot which ones he did, but I think there was like 2 of them that he had done prior to this movie. So this was probably your biggest A-lister at the time, which is very interesting. The villain is the biggest actor in 1991 in the movie. Matt, what did you got?
Oh, I had the sad news of and I forgot to mention this for when I picked it, but you had chosen A League of Their Own because Madonna's in the hospital, and
Mhm.
it's just one of those things. Well, Alan Arkin, who played Peavy in this, unfortunately passed away like 2 weeks ago.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was another reason why I picked it. Obviously, it was an initial reason why I picked it, but as a bit of a tribute to him, it's why I picked it as well. So Alan Arkin, R.I.P. Phenomenal man. He was great. So on to the fun facts. I'm done with the sad facts.
Yeah, Matt should have his own segment called Sad Facts.
Well, remember when Josh was here and he got to be the sad facts guy?
Yeah.
Now I've got to make up for that. So I guess it's just a Kugler.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be a Kugler thing.
It's a Kugler responsibility. We just have to give the sad news. I'm sorry.
I do want to kind of pause a little bit here and talk about casting, because I feel like this is where, for me, a lot of the movie is missing, and that is the lead role that they picked. He did good. I just feel it was miscast. I feel we could have had a better lead, especially if you're going to pin someone against Dalton, who is known for his roles in James Bond at this time. I don't think you should have someone right off the bench and go. Like, you need someone that's been in the game for a little bit. I actually took the time to take a look at the actors around 91, and I compiled a list of who I thought would have fit better for this role. So if you guys want, we can kind of dive into that. Go ahead, Matt.
I just want to debate you at some point after your list of just why you think it needs to be an A-list actor going up against Dalton. Simply because I have my argument, and I know a lot of the not a lot, but I know a bit of the history of the whole casting of this particular person, as I'm sure you're aware. So yes, at some point I would like to debate. Really, just want to know why you think this.
Ultimately, I can say it right now.
Yeah,
because this is something that I've been taking a few days to think on this one.
Okay.
This is, and I rewatched it today, by the way.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you did your 2 watches.
Yes, 2 watches in, as per usual. I've noticed, especially on the second go around, Campbell is playing the role, and I think he's trying to. He struggled to find the zone that he wanted to be in. It was more of like, are you trying to be like, we're in a serious action movie, or are you trying to be like, I think that's what John was saying, or are you in like a kid movie and you're trying to be the kid hero versus like the Indiana Jones hero, or what have you, right? And I just felt that the personality, it just wasn't really the personality that he was displaying just wasn't really matching the movie well. And so I took time. I was like, okay, what actors who have the personality, who have the skills and the know-how to kind of hone in on the character would do. In no particular order, these are the names that I wrote down. I wrote down Michael J. Fox, Robin Williams, Bill Murray, Emilio Estevez, and Matt Damon. I do feel any one of these, if they could have landed them for this movie, their first of all, their experience, second of all, their fame. Maybe Matt Damon probably wasn't that famous at the time, but the other ones had probably, they definitely had their had their movies made already. But more importantly, I just feel that they would have been able to maybe capture the lightheartedness to match the overall tone that the movie was going for. And I just think that they would have been able to really capture the character of Cliff a little better than what Billy did.
As you listed all of those people, I'm wondering what the budget is for the film, because if the budget would play a role in the type of lead that they can cast. Right, and you listed a bunch of A-listers, and I'm like, well, it depends on if they could pay them for that role.
Budget was
maybe they
million.
wanted that role, they just couldn't pay them. That's my like thing.
The budget was 35 million.
Nick, for you, really, the Disney, they wanted an A-lister. They wanted a big name.
Oh yeah, that's coming later.
Yeah, they wanted a big name. They so it's not a matter of it wasn't in the budget to get a big name. It was the director actively wanted a more green actor, somebody who was a bit more of a no name. And this is where my side of the debate comes in, is more or less arguing for him and his decision on that. What I believe to be his reasoning for going with somebody who's less famous at the time, who's not like a familiar face, is it keeps Cliff as this kind of just random guy that happens to luck upon this thing. It keeps him as this fresh face. It's not a recognizable of like, oh, I know this guy. It's like, you don't really know what to expect of him. He's just average Joe. And to have him going up against the A-lister, the top guy, Timothy Dalton, who is James Bond, like that's already a natural thing that you're experiencing while watching this, because that's exactly what it is. It's this Goliath of Timothy Dalton versus this David of what is it, Billy
Campbell.
Billy Campbell. So like that dynamic is already there, and it plays so well into the whole Hollywood story that's within this, right? Is like Timothy Dalton is the A-lister. He is the superstar, and that's you get to see that side of Hollywood. He's also that guy. Meanwhile, you've got Jenny, who's trying to break it into the industry, but she's committed. She's busting her ass. She's putting in the work. And Cliff doesn't understand that world. He doesn't get it. He he's like, you're standing in the background. You're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't get it. And like, because he's not somebody that were like, oh, this guy's in all kinds of movies. He's been in blah, 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 blah. It's like, it just kind of feeds into all of that of like, he's a fresher face. You have no expectations of this guy. You don't know who he could be. And that's what the Rocketeer is, right? Nobody knows who he is. He's a mystery man. So ultimately, that's what I think the choice being like why he was going for those things is things like that.
I still think the mark was missed. And my gut, especially like just looking back at my list, I think Michael J. Fox is my probably number one pick for this role. And then closely followed would be Matt Damon, especially in 1991. I think the chemistry, like they would have been able to master the character. I know they would have been able to master the character of Billy, but also the chemistry that I think they would have got with Jennifer as well would have really, really worked when it comes to their relationship on screen and whatnot too. So I think that's the big problem that I had with this one is your lead felt like you're the lead role of the movie, and I don't feel that you had total control of an understanding of where you wanted to go, and it definitely threw me off. I think it was Jen. Did you once have your hand up or no?
I did. I was just gonna share a random ass fact.
Okay, so Nick and then Matt, I believe.
Random ass facts are the best.
Brian's got the fun facts.
It kind of ties in with what Matt said, but it's okay.
Brian's got the fun facts. Matt's got the sad facts. Jen's got the random ass facts.
That better be your next song.
No, yeah, I have the song of facts. No, I was just gonna say. So I learned recently something about Matt Damon, because you guys know I watched Good Will Hunting last week, and that movie came out in like 96, 97, something like that.
Yeah.
That was actually like Matt Damon was pretty much a no name before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to be in this film in 1991,
yeah,
I feel like it would be kind of the same thing as Matt was saying earlier, kind of like a guy who was a nobody going up against an A-lister.
You're right. Then I would substitute Damon for Emilio Estevez.
Emilio.
I don't know who that is.
It's the Mighty Duck
Bombay.
Man. The Mighty Duck Man. I swear to God.
It's Coach Bombay, or did you ever see The Outsiders?
No.
He's in there as well. I forgot which character.
Oh, I recognize him.
2-Bit, is it something like that?
Who?
2-Bit or something?
Yes, it's 2-Bit. Yes.
It's freaking great. He's got his Mickey Mouse shirt on the whole
Yeah,
time.
he's got.
Love him. God, that was an era. Like, so Emilio Estevez, like in Breakfast Club.
Mhm.
I love him when he is that kind of like goofy kind of jackass.
Yeah.
That's a fun side of him, because I grew up with him as Gordon Bombay,
Yes.
the man who was literally an alcoholic and just like a really sad character at first. God, it's funny. The more I think about Mighty Ducks, it really starts off so depressing.
It does.
But I love it so much. That's hockey for you. You have to overcome.
All right, so I would draw Damon's name in the race then, because that's a good point, Nick. So I'd still say MJ Fox #1.
So
pick.
that's what I was gonna say. Was I was looking up Back to the Futures because I couldn't remember when parts 2 and 3 came out. So I think it was 89 and 90. So this would have been right on the tail end of that.
Oh.
And I would have loved to have seen it. Like it's one of those weird things where I feel like the downfall for Michael J. Fox, and I love the man, and this is not his fault, but he's short.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the downfall for him in this movie. I'm trying to think of any.
Would it be a downfall? I mean, that rocket would launch him.
Well, it would be great. It would be great. And honestly, the fighting with the jetpack in this is honestly some of the best I've ever seen with people using jetpacks. Like, you have a rocket on your back. Why are you just flying up and down and left and right? Like, you can literally run at somebody and turn yourself into a freaking cannonball. Like,
That does happen once.
Exactly, and that's exactly my point. Like, I get okay. I'm gonna say it. Star Wars with all of the Mandalorians with jetpacks. Why aren't they more badass? Like, they got a rocket launcher. That's cool, but barely have they used these things in actual combat. Multiverse of Madness did a decent job of. I think it's actually Captain. Was it Captain Britain? What she doing? Anyway, like, she actually uses the jetpack in a way of like actually fighting. Like, it's this for 1991 for them to actually have somewhat decent jetpack fighting. You're right. I could see Michael J. Fox be working, and it's just I do see that as his downfall, and it's bullshit. Stop being such heightist.
The height wouldn't have bothered me at all. I'm just like,
never does.
When a chef can cook, let him cook. And
I love Michael J.
Come
Fox.
on.
Put him in everything.
Yeah.
I love Michael J. Fox.
All right. I'm just gonna continue, kind of rip through these real quick. So the ratings, we're giving this one a 3.53 out of 5 stars.
I'll take it.
Let's see. Letterbox is 3.4 out of 5. IMDb 6.5 out of 10, and Raj 3 out of 4 stars.
We're feeling pretty average on this one, then.
Yeah, it's pretty much average across the board.
Oh.
As I said, budget 35 million, worldwide gross 46.7 million. Still turns a profit. I just feel like this movie could have been bigger.
There's so much like I want to talk about with the making of this movie, but that's got to be for later. Otherwise, Fun Facts will last 20 hours.
Yeah. Oscars, Golden Globes, Big Goose Eggs, nothing. GB Racer nicknames, real life. The Widowmaker and the Flying Coffin. Because how difficult it was to fly, and also how difficult it was to land. So
okay,
I'm just gonna say, if something's hard to fly and hard to land, perhaps it should stay on the ground.
it's really fast.
Matt already said it. This is based off of Dave Stevens' original graphic novel, also known as a comic book.
Graphic novels are different. They're longer. They're longer. That's it. They're longer.
Listen, I'm also gonna go on record when it comes to comic book as a whole.
Then just read it as the information says.
This is probably the genre that I know absolutely the least about. I never owned comic books. I never read comic books. I was just completely
You
out of
never
that.
read.
Yeah, I never read. I was just completely
Got
off that
him.
playing field. So it's just a brand new environment for me. Go ahead, Nick.
Are you telling me that 300 is a comic book?
What?
The movie 300, it's based off of a graphic novel. So are you telling me that
Oh.
300 is a comic book?
No, definitely not.
It's just that that sentence would never have been said.
It's very true. And also the fact that, let's go back to what I just said, I don't know anything about comic books.
I don't think he even knows the difference between a story, like a story and a novel.
Fact, I don't. This is why I'm out there saving your lives and not having to be in charge of reading or editing your papers. And for that, you're welcome.
That's off to you.
This was turned down by many major studios. It may come to a surprise that at one point people were nowhere near interested nor wanted to invest in turning a graphic novel, a comic book, or what have you into a movie, which in 2023 is almost jaw-dropping to think of, with the amount of, MC movies Marvel movies and DC movies and everything that's come out since then. But this was like, they were looking at this like, nah, there's no market in it, whatsoever. So this movie was actually pitched to come out in the 80s. And people just they just didn't want to do it. And they went after studios after studios after studios. And finally, Disney was their last studio that they wanted to visit, or that they went to visit to see if this movie was going to get greenlit or not. And Disney's like, we'll do it. Anyone want to guess the reason why Disney went with it?
Because they're Nazis?
Jesus.
Are you saying because like they're Nazis in the movie, or they're Nazis as like Disney is Nazis?
No, because Disney are Nazis and they identify with the characters in the film.
Okay. Well, I'm
just going to go on record that I let Nick stand alone on that comment.
Yeah,
Disney lawyers, please don't come after us.
No comment.
We don't have much.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. No comment.
The reason why is they saw a huge marketing opportunity. We're going to make the movie The Rocketeer, and we're going to just, a bunch of toys can come out, and we'll sell shirts, and we'll sell. They just saw it as a huge, you know what? This is gonna be good. We got this, guys. So that's why Disney went with the green light. There was a big he wasn't very big at the time. He's big now. He's very, very big now. He wasn't as big as the time that Disney wanted as the number one choice. A actor who was very familiar with working with Disney movies. Do we have a guess? Matt is not included.
Fine. I didn't want to play your game anyway.
An actor that would have played Cliff?
Yes. It was they wanted him to play Cliff.
Tom Hanks.
Not Hanks.
Is it the guy that does
Tom Hanks was on the list, but not top.
Is it the guy that does all the voices? Like that they just give him one character.
Oh,
the voice.
You're talking about ironically his name is Cliff in Cheers. Raven's, damn it, I'm so close.
No, God, yeah.
John Ravensburg. John,
it's gonna kill me. Give me a second.
I'm like on the I'm dancing around it.
John Ratzenberger.
Rancid Burger?
Ratzenberger.
Yeah. No, it's not him, but that's who you're talking about.
Okay. That would be
too close. It won't see. Oh, yeah.
Robin Williams.
I quit.
It was not Robin Williams. Good guess.
You would have been okay with that.
That's all I got.
Oh, come on.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Here's my second hint. And if this doesn't give it away, I don't know what will. He might have been a little too busy having scissors.
Johnny Depp.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Yep.
As Clea?
Disney wanted Johnny Depp.
I couldn't see it.
Actually, they probably didn't have the budget for it though.
It's Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, actually, so here's what is he? 1990s. So I looked up Johnny Depp at this time because the movie that I was thinking of.
No, this is got to be around Eating Gilbert Grape.
That's what I was thinking is the closest.
And I want to say that's 89, 90. I think it's like right on the tail end of it.
Well, the movie that I was thinking of was Benny and June because I could see him at that age.
And when did he do Blow?
Wow.
No, Blow was
That's way later. That's like
like
2000.
later 90s.
Is it a 90s? Oh, it is a 90s movie, isn't it? No. Blow 2001.
Oh, okay.
He actually didn't really do anything in 91. So he did that's like a cameo for Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. He did a cameo or something within it. And he also did Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Into the Great Wide Open. So I think he was in a music video. Yeah. So he does Edward Scissorhands in 1990, a music video in 91, a cameo in a horror movie in 91. And then 93, he starts working like a madman. 93, he does Benny and June, What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh, wow. It was that late?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I remembered it to be earlier. I thought it went Grape and then Edward.
No.
Huh. Okay.
He was young and Grape.
Mm-hmm.
Like really
He
young.
looks young. Well, like I said, the movie that I was thinking of, like a Johnny Depp version in this movie, would have been from Benny and June, mostly because he's basically playing Buster Keaton. So like he's from the silent film era, so it's old time Hollywood kind of thing. So this is obviously the 30s, so it's around the time of silent films and talkies. Like obviously it's talkies now. Like I could see him fitting into this world. The only difference is like I feel like he'd need to bulk up because he in the 90s he was always so scrawny.
Yeah, he was.
He was always just a string bean of a dude. So like that's the only thing is I would think he'd need to bulk up to play a pilot because I mean I don't think it really matters what era you're talking about. The amount of G's that pilots have to go through and all that kind of shit. Like you need to be able to frickin' hold up to that shit.
I just wanted to share my opinion on Johnny Depp. So I think, like, my initial thought was like, no, I don't see it. But then I got to thinking, and I think he would definitely make the acting a lot better. Because there were times with this guy where I was like, you're an absolute idiot for being like the hero of the movie. I'm like, you're like, where's your dunce cap? Like, he was just irritating me so much. He was irritating me so much. And I do feel like Johnny Depp would definitely bring the swag that, like, the confidence that was lacking from this guy's character. I don't know. Does anyone agree?
I completely agree. And I also think Michael J. Fox, the same thing. But no, you're right. The way you worded it was perfect. The lack of confidence and just having a different actor kind of pick up the slack. Basically, it's like he did it was an okay job. He didn't bomb this movie by any means. It's just I think we all know that there was better talent out there for this role.
But how I like to see it is like he got to work with an elite actor, so hopefully he like learned a few things, and then he
didn't really have a big career.
Oh, well, he should have taken the opportunity to learn.
He's still working. So
he's still working, yes.
To be fair, I mean, you never really know as an actor, you never know when your break is going to happen. And
that's true.
Unfortunately, it can come in a day or 20, 30, 40 years from now.
Very true. You just need that one movie.
He just needs that one movie. He's been working. Speaking
of Campbell, In real life, he's afraid to fly in planes.
I wonder why.
Yeah. All right, this one's especially for you, Jen. I think you'll really appreciate this one. James Horner is the person that was in charge of doing the score for the movie.
Oh, okay.
Wrote this in less than 3 weeks.
I only caught just the intro, guys. I don't.
No.
Oh, I had another fact.
I wasn't like the music in this whole movie, not just that intro.
I mean, honestly, the score is incredible. It's one of the best things of the movie.
I believe there's a reason for that. I want to prove it, but I'm going to say it so that I can look it up and then prove it. I don't know if you have this in there. Do you have any more facts about the music?
No, that's it. That's all I got on the score.
Same guy who did Titanic.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely love it. It was the best.
Yeah, that's that. Jen, I had seen.
Okay, so he composed Titanic score as well.
I want to say so. I'm James Horner.
I'm now that you said that, I'm definitely hearing the similar vibes to it.
Yep, he's James Cameron's boy.
Jen's over here like dissecting every note. It's like, no, that one's a little off.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, same guy. I did just prove that, and I also found another sad fact, and we're leaving it at that.
Yeah, we're not done with that. All right, so you're gonna try to bring the sad facts, and I'm gonna bring the really cool facts here. So
not bringing the sad fact.
The Bulldog Cafe actually inspired by an ice cream cone.
Right, ice cream cone?
Yes. So I was like, what the hell did I just read? And I actually had to do like some digging on this. This movie was built built around the time of the 30s, right? Apparently back then, during the 1930s, it was very popular to have establishments that were in the shape of something. So an ice cream parlor in the shape of an ice cream cone, or what have you. And
there's always money in the banana stand.
And apparently, Joe Johnston was, I want to say he was living in Mississippi, if I remember correctly. And they had a giant ice cream cone shaped building. And he's like, you know what? We're going to do a bulldog shaped building for the Rocketeer because I loved that ice cream shaped building.
I wonder why he chose a dog, though.
I don't know. You know, Bulldog Cafe, that's a great name.
It is.
It's a great name.
I used to have a Bulldog Cafe in Vacaville, like right by my house.
There's a Bulldog in Monterey. I think it was called Bulldog, right? The Bulldog?
Oh my God, you broke my brain.
Across from Segovia's?
Yeah, the Irish pub.
Yeah, it was called the Bulldog. Right?
Yeah, it was the Bulldog, yeah.
We never went there.
Yeah. That's right.
But does it have the word cafe at the end of it?
Nope, no. It has Irish. The helmet was almost axed. Never had so much drama about a helmet in my life.
I need to know. I love the helmet.
The director ended up basically staking his career on the helmet, saying, you get rid of the helmet, I walk off the set, and that's it. We're done.
Oh my gosh.
And at one point they wanted to do, they're like, you know what? The helmet design looks weird. Like, let's just make it a NASA helmet. So they wanted it to make basically go like astronaut style on this. There was so much battle about this damn helmet, and obviously we know what the end result was. The director stays, and what you see, I guess he even brought up like one of his friends who's a welder, saying like, yo, I need a cool looking helmet, give me what you got. And can you imagine I can't believe the amount of drama that this helmet is causing.
Well, it's nice to know that Disney has always had this problem of not wanting heroes to have helmets.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's one of my favorite thing about like superheroes and stuff is like I love a really cool helmet or a really cool mask. Mm-hmm. And granted, the big fin on it is a little bit silly from certain angles and stuff. But one, it serves a purpose for him flying this thing. And two, I think it just looks awesome. Like it's so like steampunk, you know?
Yeah.
I love
The
this
uniform was almost steampunk.
everything about him is
Mhm.
steampunk. And I'm like, that's so
Mhm.
freaking cool. And it's the reason that I chose the poster that I have up is like because it gives me the same steampunky vibes. I think the one you posted on one of the things too of like him flying through the I love that.
Looking at the camera.
It's great. But like yeah,
He's flying this way. His face is this way.
yeah, I love it. I love the helmet. I think it's such a cool design. And as a person who likes to collect helmets, I'm gonna find this one or make it myself.
It reminds me of Star-Lord
Yeah.
in the MCU. Yeah, and Guardians. It's like a level or evolution 1 of Star-Lord.
I honestly I kind of hope if they ever bring back Star-Lord in some capacity, it would be so cool if there was like a universe where Star-Lord was actually the Rocketeer.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pitching this right now. Marvel, what if? Do a Star-Lord Rocketeer crossover for What If MCU. Please make it happen.
All right, I got a few more here. Mythbusters Adam Savage has been on record saying how much he loves this movie.
See? And who hates that guy?
I don't think anyone.
Exactly.
Connolly's character is modeled after pinup model Betty Page, and she just didn't want to use her actual name or anything, so they just went with Jenny. But that's who that is. Okay,
To say the name they gave her it's a solid name.
Yeah,
Jenny Blake, like
yeah,
it's a good classic name, and it sounds it sounds almost as good as Betty Page.
Possible PV was Lloyd Bridges. Possible Eddie was Joe Pesci.
Yeah. When I read that, I wanted to see
I was waiting for him to show up.
Yep. So basically, Joe Johnson just picking through the good Flickas cast at this point. Like, oh, okay. If I can't get Pauly, I'll go for Pesci.
Good fellas, bro. Good fellas.
No, did I say good Flickas?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself.
That's a good little Freudian slip.
Yeah. No, so clearly going after the Goodfellas cast at this point, you know, where's Bob? This inspired a Disney Junior cartoon series, which, for anyone that is listening, is streaming on Disney Plus right now. And lastly,
I think
there was talk to film in black and white.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Little heavy debate there.
No,
I don't know. And
this is the Hollywood color.
I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that one if they launched it black and white. 1991, based on 1930s.
Color was out in the 30s. It came out in like 1932 or 33.
I think
something like that. It was Technicolor.
I just don't know.
I don't think it take away anything.
I mean, you have those scenes later where they show the Nazi films, like those are black and white,
right?
So it's like that contrast with the color of the actual film.
Well, I like when they do that in these period movies of keeping it in color, but when you show something from the era like that, it's like make that accurate. So it's like, yeah, this is what we're viewing. Don't give them something.
League of Their Own did it.
Yeah,
they have all those black and white baseball montages or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
like, that's a great way to do it. But if this movie was entirely black and white, ugh.
Yeah,
again,
I think it would be a little tough, especially with some of the acting and everything. It's like, oh wow, this really does starting to feel like Charlie Chaplin at this point. if you take the color away.
I almost want to do that now. I want to take the restaurant fight. I want to take that and just
take away the sound too.
No. Oh God, yes. And Oh, put in Benny Hill, right? You know, he's just going in circles until they catch him with a net.
The only other thing that I had before we take a break and really dive into the movie itself, so this is more of like the general umbrella, is, and you were kind of teasing it a little bit already, Matt, is the fact of either doing a sequel or maybe even trying over. I think that this is a perfect candidate of a movie that deserves a redo. I've already been thinking about ways. So first of all, the movie features Howard Hughes. Let me introduce you, in case you haven't seen it. There's a little movie called The Aviator, starring Leo as Howard Hughes. So here's the pitch. First of all, whatever the redo is, let's bring Leo into this movie and he becomes Howard Hughes. So now you have Aviator Howard, or, you have him as Howard Hughes in The Aviator, and it just can continue right on into The Rocketeer with starring Leo. And then you got to figure out who's going to be Cliff and all that stuff. But I think this movie is worth doing a do-over. We have better technology. We've absolutely mastered, or the industry, I should say, has mastered how to do a comic book movie and make it, blockbuster entertainment. Where in 1991, you would almost make the case with, aside from, I would say, Superman and Batman, we really haven't got into how do we capture this market. 2023, it's captured, it's perfected. You've got multiple universes going on or multiverses going on, all of it. I think The Rocketeer does deserve another shot at, and especially with other, like I said, with other things that we've done, such as The Aviator, we can make this. It could be. I think it could be a blockbuster movie.
I completely agree with that. I would love for them to redo this, or even honestly, I would prefer if they did a reboot that acknowledged this as like this happened, and the next story is like from there. Like not necessarily a direct sequel, but like a continuation. Yeah, like it. But whatever the story may be,
we last saw our hero.
Well, I mean, they could, and it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need them to like retcon this entire movie. Like, oh, it didn't happen, we're just gonna reboot it. Like they could, and again, it wouldn't bother me. But I like when they have something that's like, it's good, it's decent. Do something to improve it. So that would be cool. Where you lose me is Leo's Howard Hughes coming into this universe. Like, I haven't seen The Aviator, but does he not like lose his shit?
Oh, he goes.
Which is, to be fair,
mad
kind of what
crazy.
happened. Yeah, which is kind of what happened to Howard Hughes.
Yes.
So it's like you're talking about, like, yeah, he goes through all of that, and then Rocketeer, and it's like, no,
but you can make it to where it's the timing is not when he's bad shit crazy. It's when he's on top of his game.
Okay.
Because I can't remember.
You do it.
Possible spoiler alert. It's been a while since I've seen The Aviator. I don't remember. I think he dies in it.
I think so. I want to say they do like his full life, don't they? It's like a full biopic.
Either that or is he suicidal?
I honestly don't remember.
Overdose, something. I'm pretty sure he dies.
Yeah.
But I just think it would be well, for one, I'm a huge Leo fan. And two, if you play the role of Howard Hughes and we can get you in another movie playing Howard Hughes, it just works for me.
I do think it's fun when they can do that. It's only happened a handful of times where an actor has played the same character, but in different movies so differently.
Ultimately, I do feel that there's certain potential here for what could be another summer blockbuster success.
But they're not going to write it until after the strike, so movie producers, get your heads out of your asses and agree to terms.
Does anyone have anything else? Any like umbrella statements before we take a break?
I wish you had gotten the name of the lucky gum, but that's okay. I'll try and find it.
Beeman's.
Oh, Beeman's. Thank you. You did get it. Why didn't you say penis?
I don't know. Forgot.
I had the fact. I don't know why I didn't say it.
That was like the first thing Matt said before you started.
Yeah, I was like, I really.
Yeah, and apparently, like, if I remember, in real life, pilots really did love Beeman's gum.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
it was a
lucky.
thing.
It really is like a lucky charm.
Yeah, it was definitely a thing.
Yeah.
It also saved his life, you know.
Yeah, it also ended another man's, but you know. Let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start. And I like the intro to this movie. I like movies that have action that's happening during the credits, right? Like, it's not necessarily a whole lot that's happening. What we're really seeing are these guys prepping for, you know, he's going to fly this plane and the plane's going to take off and woo. And it's nice. You got to meet the characters a little bit and have a fun, positive moment because, you know, we learned that they just got this plane. This is the first time they're taking it out. It's like a big deal, but also this plane is no joke. So like, be careful. It's super fast. It's crazy. We talked a little bit about that during the fun facts, but I mean, this plane was literally a massive engine with wings. Like, that's it. That's how it was designed, was to just be a massive engine with wings. I wouldn't say that there's anything particularly groundbreaking about this. I actually, you know, I would make the argument because it's kind of spliced together with the FBI chase. So, you know, we know that something was stolen. There's this chase going on while our main boy is having his first takeoff of this brand new plane.
He's having his Top Gun moment.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I want to talk about one. Why the hell would you fly so close to what is clearly a shootout? Like, dude, you have no business being there. Like, what? Why? Get out of there, dude. Like, you were kind of asking for your thing to get shot. Because what are they supposed to assume? But like, other than you were the feds following them or something, right? Like, they're firing. They're shooting at these guys in the car. Why wouldn't they shoot at you? Get the hell out of there. So there's that.
Stand firm, and he's an idiot.
Well, I would actually like to blame this on Peavy because, you know, he puts the gum on his tail and he says, what, you know, you want me to crash? And what's the last thing Peavy does is that thing is going away. He takes the gum off. Like, I'm just saying that's Peavy's, this is all Peavy's fault, which is why I think he was like so cool at the end of it being crashed because he was like, yep, I brought this upon us.
I wrote it as a head scratcher. You just answered it for me.
Yeah.
I was wondering if the removing of the gum was the result of what happened. And I strongly believe everything happened because the gum was removed. You don't fuck with superstition like that.
You know, especially if you pay attention to the gum after that moment, it's very important. I joke, but it's also very true.
I know.
Peavy is very adamant, like, hey, you got your gum? Give me that. Boom. Okay, we're plugging this hole. I don't want to get into it. Gum is important, and it all starts from this moment. So it seems like a little nothing kind of moment as it's happening, right? But yeah, I fully blame it. And I'm a superstitious person. I'll admit that. So hell yeah. Hell yeah. Peavy caused this. Yep. I'm glad I don't have to argue about this.
There is an argument.
Sweet. We don't really have to harp on the intro unless anybody just has stuff that they'd like to say about it. I would honestly prefer things to be done differently. Ultimately, I think if this movie had slowed down and they had developed story a bit more, like taking time to like really, I felt like things were rushed. Of everything has to happen very quickly because you guys have mentioned a little bit of how this feels a little like TV movie kind of style, and that's part of it. I think it's because it's rushed. Like, we got to get a lot out and we got to do it quick. So I would like for them to have taken more time to do, like, he gets to do his, you know, his takeoff and all that kind of stuff, but give us more of the chase. Make that a big thing too. So it's like, while this whole chase is happening, we're invested, and then Cliff comes in. Oh shit. Man, I got real rambunctious there and hit my mic. Okay. I guess that means I have to not talk with my arms, Matt. Yeah, give me more of the chase, and just, you know, take your time more with the movie. I don't think we'd mentioned him much, but the one FBI guy is freaking Ed Lauder, and another like freaking all-star. This guy's been around for forever, and he's such a badass. He has his great moments, and the reason he's a badass is because we know he is, but he would have been a fun character to kind of get to know a little bit more and to have more. I mean, freaking Cliff decks this dude, right? And Ed Lauder is not the type of guy to like take a punch and not throw a punch back. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a tough guy.
Mhm.
So I would have liked for a little bit more development between those two. Just if nothing else, to have this rivalry of like, I'm the tough guy, which I think would have been a different change for Cliff, right? Because he's not really a tough guy. Oh, we're going stripes.
Sorry.
You know, but I think that could have been a fun direction to go if this movie were to slow down a little bit and let us really dive into these characters. I mean, just the whole old time Hollywood story arc of it to begin with. Lock us into this world. Get us so invested into old time Hollywood before you reveal to us that Sinclair is in any way a bad guy. And then it's just like, oh shit, he's a Nazi? Like that, it's so much more of a shock at that point. But because I feel this story had to be rushed, it's like, okay, he's the bad guy, but he's got this charm. So it's like, well, wait, he's got like, they kind of get you to teeter, but you always know, like, no, he's the bad guy.
I'll just add to the plane when Cliff is flying his plane towards the car chase. I just, in my mind, I'm like wondering, was he just wanting to see what was going on, or did he not have control, you know, as he was flying over them? Like, I wish they had kind of explained more of what his thinking was internally for why he made that maneuver, because it just seems unclear, like, why he did that. You know, his plane gets shot up and then, you know, all that happens, but it's just, the scene just plays out as, oh, now his plane is going over the shootout. Why?
No, that's fair. If there was like even just like an audio cut of him saying like
What's going on over there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That line exactly from outside the plane. Don't even have to see him.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, show the plane and then him going down. Like it adds motivation for why you do it, other than just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Plane and you see people firing. Why are you going towards it?
Yeah.
And getting like so close. He was probably like 30, 50 feet above them. You know?
He was close.
Yeah.
I mean, those bullets practically hit the top of his engine, you know?
Like every bullet hit. Like that's how close he was.
I mean, you got an automatic gun like that. Sure, you're going to hit a lot, but that thing hit. Yeah. Idiot. God.
Thank you.
Wow. I was right there with you. But now, as he walks away, is Brian's favorite part of the show, where we all say like what our scene of the movie is. Would anybody like to go first? I'll admit that I don't really have one in mind yet.
I might need a second. Just give me.
I'll go.
Okay, yeah, hit us up.
It's not like, it's kind of nerdy, but I really like the secret bookcase. I knew it was coming. Like when she was going around, I was like, I know what you're doing, but it's still exciting, and that was a highlight for me.
I'm with you.
No, you're not, but that's okay.
No. Well, Brian had mentioned like the whole Indiana Jones and all this stuff, and it's like that's that kind of stuff, right? Like there's this mystery, there's this espionage, and like secret doors. Like that's Timothy Dalton is freaking James Bond. Like that's such James Bond shit. Like I love it. I'm all for that stuff. So like Jen, I'm with you. Would I say like that's my scene of the movie? No, but I do want to talk about that scene because I've got big questions, somewhat medical speaking, to see if Brian has an answer for me. But no, that's not my scene, Jen. But I understand why. I love that stuff. Brian, you've got your mic up. Do you have your scene of the movie?
Oh yeah. I titled it "Waiter, there's a rocket in my soup."
You know what? I haven't done it for you in a while. You getting some applause, guys. It's not my favorite, but like the joke of it is real good. I like it. I like that. Wait,
So,
yeah. solid because
No explanation
it's on
needed.
so many levels.
That's the scene that comes to my mind if someone says Rocketeer.
Okay.
Can you ask the chef to make a new one without the rocket?
I actually ordered extra rocket in mine. This is weird. Maybe you got mine. Can I have his? Can I have his rocket? Can I have theirs? They don't want them. I'll tell you. But yeah, Nick, did you have a scene? I've got one picked out, but
Yeah, I for me, I think I'll say the one that like surprised me the most. It's kind of how I pick my scene of the movies. It's like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting that. Like that kind of a reaction to the scene typically ends up being my scene for the movie. I'll have to say it's the scene where Cliff and I think it's Peeve. They're in the truck and the truck stops working and the driver puts in neutral. I was like, why would you put it in neutral? Like it's not just gonna roll. And then Cliff like gets on the back and then turns his jetpack on. They go flying down that road. I wasn't expecting that and I just loved it. It's just it was a fun way to like a fun creative way of using the jetpack without its like intended purpose.
yeah. My scene is actually the one immediately before that. The first rescue. I mean, the appearance of the Rocketeer is it's the scene that I think of the most, just because it's the best of the Rocketeer. Everything where he's flying with the rocket afterwards is bland. It's whatever. It's okay. It's fine. But that moment of this rescue when he's getting to the plane, I mean, this is the first time the dude's flying this thing, and it's absolute chaos of just him trying to get onto this plane. What I love about it is the mix of like real stunts and like green screen CGI kind of stuff. Like I think they did such a great job of it. Is it perfect? No, but it looks good. It looks really good. They did so many cool little tricks of like putting a real person on a biplane and sending him off. Like obviously that, you know, they've got somebody who's falling off of this plane and is either flying. The stunts have been done. So it's possible for this person to fall off and, you know, probably just has a chute on, whatever. It's been done. And to mix that real effects, real stunts like that with the Rocketeer and make it look so good, and it's so fun and it's bright. This is the only time that he's ever like outside in the sun. Rocketeer. Everything else, it's at night. It's in buildings. It's very tight. He's got the world, and it's the best version of the Rocketeer in my mind. It's so much fun. All right.
What is the scene?
I think Matt's is the scene.
Well, and I'm already over here gabbing about it, so like, yeah, I can just steal it.
Per usual.
But shut up.
It's like I have to remind everyone, we don't talk about the scenes. We just say what they are, and then we talk about them.
Well, it's because Nick was right after me, so it's just I got excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got excited.
Whatever.
I just did a title. That's all I did. A title. Moving on.
Well, you know what? And I'll leave it at this. Is there anything anybody wants or needs to add to the first appearance of the Rocketeer?
Yeah.
I don't like clowns.
Big gopher.
Okay.
That line killed me. That was just the fun.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He's coming in hot. He's going through the field, and then it's just the quick cut to these two farmers. And the first thing that they think of is that's got to be a gopher.
just tearing the dirt up.
And the way he delivers it, big gopher.
Just little fun fact, if I'm not mistaken, the other guy in that scene, the big guy, not the one who says big gopher, is actually the guy who plays Lothar out of makeup.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The big monster guy, that is him out of makeup.
I did not. Oh, wow. Okay. I did not know.
I hope I'm not mistaken if somebody corrects me, but I because I didn't confirm it. I just read the fact on IMDb.
I want you guys to put yourself in Malcolm's shoes. You're up in the air, you're flying a plane, and then all of a sudden a head comes shooting through the floor of your airplane. That had to have scared the shit out of me, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that is the most bad. I did not expect that. I was like, oh, he's just gonna rocket himself like next to it, and then maybe get into the plane or just pull Malcolm out. I was like, or he's just gonna go right through the fucking thing. And then did he purposely knock him out?
No, nothing. Nothing he did until like actually getting him out of that plane was on purpose.
Okay. That was just a disaster of a rescue.
Oh yeah, that's
that is
kinda
some
what I love
Ricky
about
rescue if I've ever seen it.
kind of what I love about it.
How do we feel about the announcer?
Oh,
It's just part of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whisk.
Like
ah,
lives are at stake. And he's like, oh, it's just part of the show. I wanted to push him off this little wooden stage.
It's all part of the show.
yeah.
Well, he's like that right after like the wings like chop off those like flagpoles. Like, it's like chop, chop, chop. It's all part of the show, folks.
Yeah. Oh, he's trying desperately, and I love that he does get his little moment of karma like right then, where the gas truck explodes again. It's like, yeah, that's what you get, dickhead. That's two fuel trucks you lost in the last 48 hours, 24 hours.
Good.
So that's a lot of money he lost. But also big explosions. Speaking of, there were some good explosions in this movie.
Yeah, there were.
I hate the guy, but like I don't think he deserved to be bent in half.
Yes.
That guy was a dick. But bent in half, really, Jen?
I'm
Yes.
trying to think if there's anything else
It's all
that
part of the
jumped out
show.
to me during that scene. Definitely going through the bottom of an airplane. That was that was a doozy. I mean, and then like the way his head is just like stuck, and like the way that they filmed it from top down, I was like, that's really good work, guys. Really, really good work. And then I did like the whole like we're just gonna drop Malvin on this giant balloon and just fly away. I was like, good move, good move. You don't want to know what's coming your way if you land on the ground. So
Didn't a similar thing happen in Mother when J-Lo like goes underneath that truck and she like rips through the bottom of it? There's something about like people just going underneath. Wasn't that Mother? Yeah, she's like running away from the bad guy. She goes underneath a bunch of cars, and then she like rips through like this.
I think that is Mother.
It is. Yeah, yeah. She's in the parking garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 1970s truck.
It's a stupid like rusty truck.
Yes,
She pops right through the. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Through the bottom of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yes. It just reminded me, like the whole head through the plane just reminded me of like the head through the
just plowing through Mater's guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good callback.
Yeah, there's just something funny about those kinds of scenes.
Yeah. So okay. So your scene was what was the title again?
Waiter, there's a rocket in my soup.
This actually is a really fun scene too.
It is.
Would you like to talk about it?
Sure, I would. Okay.
You get mad at me for talking too much, and it's like it's your scene.
I am slightly distracted because my kiddies are trying to basically do wrestling all over the laptop and in the corner. And
well, the funny part of it is we just see the world behind you. So
I know exactly. You don't see the disaster that's going on in this bedroom right now.
Can we though?
I love you so much, Dad. Pay attention to us.
Why are you grumbly?
Because
Stop
she
being
took
grumbly.
my mouse toy, Dad.
Okay, so yes, I wrote down this scene because I don't know what it was about it. To me, it was just entertaining, pure and simple. Starting off with how Cliff is trying to be all sly and how he needs to talk to Jenny, and he's dropping notes in her bowl, and then he covers it with soup, and then he tries to make a mess of things. Things escalate, and then all of a sudden we are now wearing the rocket backpack inside what I assume is the fanciest restaurant of the town.
Seems like it.
It almost felt like Casablanca vibe to me, like just the way, like just how, especially being set in the 30s and everything. It's like the singing and the dancing, and I was like, oh, this is definitely a little Casablanca vibe. But anyway, but then he starts flying around, and I'm like, this dude is in a just the force that this rocket has, and he's just flying around, just screwing up absolutely everything. The shell comes down and collapses on people, and then you think he's about to get caught. He gets the net flipped on him, and then all of a sudden he looks up and he's like, oh, that might have been a good idea. And he finally just shoots out of the window. But I was like, wow, that scene really just kind of gave you everything, didn't it? It also had a little bit of I think in my head when I was watching it, what is the song "There's No Imagination" came into my mind as they were as he like flew right through the glass window.
There's no.
Oh, from Willy Wonka?
Yeah, from Willy Wonka. Shoot out the glass type thing.
Oh, pure imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay.
It was just that was a very enjoyable scene to watch, and I didn't really have. Oh, I did have one nitpick in it, and it was it was titled "Charmed Guy." This is oh man, this dude drove me insane. Like, just I went 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds.
Oh, was this the producer dude?
The guy that walks up to
their table.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
So it drove me insane for multiple reasons. The first reason was the acting was I don't even know what voice he was going for. But I'm like, this you just need to shut up right now. And then secondly, not only do you have the terrible voice and terrible acting, but what you were saying and your actions are just disgusting.
Oh yeah.
And you could tell that he's like the rich, snooty person who just looks down at everybody from this pedestal. And I'm like, you need to thank God he had one scene, because that was one scene.
Okay. So yeah, that guy. This is one of those things where, okay, not trying to stir anything up with this, but like the Me Too movement and all of this stuff is like, this was
Harvey Weinstein.
All of this, like this is a Disney movie taking place in 1930s Hollywood, and this is true to then as it's true to the day. This shit happens. Yep. And it's disgusting. It's one of those things, like, I think as an adult, you really latch on to these things, and because, especially now, like, oh God, is it disgusting and horrific. It is awful. So
didn't you call her a kumquat?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. Oh God, all of it was disgusting. And the fact that they even go to the extent of cutting to his POV of like, doubly thank you. Like, you son of a, like, okay, one, I love Jennifer Connelly.
Charmed.
Just, oh God, he's
doubly charmed.
Yes, everything about that guy was just disgusting. And I love Jennifer Connelly. God bless her for, like, this is not the first time that she's done that shit or dealt with that shit in movies. And God, if anybody has seen Requiem, just this woman is dedicated to her craft, and she is a true actor.
It's not the first time that she was hit on by older British men either.
It's just, I'm just saying, like, one, I feel for her because she's still so young at this point.
You've heard of Labyrinth, right?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Is like, she's still so young at this. So much of her early career was this kind of stuff, and God bless her for sticking it out because she is incredible. Thank you, Jennifer Connelly. But God, this guy is absolutely disgusting. And the worst moment of this scene, right? But also it shows you how freaking slimy Sinclair is.
Yeah.
This dude is not only like, oh, hey, Bob, or whatever his name is. How's it going? So good to see you. And it's like, oh, yeah, yeah. Can you chat her up? I've just got to step away for a bit. It's like, you stick fuck. It starts there. And then what happens in the end of this scene?
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, you guys do talk. You've talked about how this movie, I think it is very confused about how adult and how child it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And for all of those flaws within this story and how it's told, I'm not sorry for it because I am the type of person. I was the type of kid that I watched movies that probably not age appropriate, but I watched them and it gave me a better understanding of shit. Like I'm seeing things that are adult themed at probably a slightly too young age. But look at this stuff. I mean, this is the 90s, the 80s, the things that were literally geared towards kids anyway. Watch that stuff. It's much more adult than you realize because you're looking back on it with rose-colored glasses or whatever the hell the phrase is. I appreciate things because of this. Because life isn't always pretty. And when you're making movies, when you're telling stories like this, if you can slip in real shit, you can slip in like genuine moments for people to latch onto of like, oh fuck. It builds depth to the story and the characters, but also it adds a little bit of realism. Sorry, rant over.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to talk about for my scene except for just I was entertained by it for sure.
I did like the whole keep him in like a fly. I did love that line. That was a really great line.
I do think it's strange that a net captures like just renders it useless.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that is like a truly heavy net, which I can buy. Because if you're just like crippling this thing, like it can only really carry so much weight, right? Just as just a thing. They never actually mentioned refueling that thing, only that it runs on alcohol.
Okay.
And there is a comment about like, you don't know how long that thing will stay up. You don't know how, like, it's like, yeah, you don't know shit. Yeah, this thing keeps flying.
You brought this up. I had this on Head Scratchers. I kind of want to talk about this jetpack.
Yeah. Let's do it.
First of all, I thought in the beginning they said it runs off of alcohol.
Yes.
Apparently, it also just never runs out of anything.
Awesome.
They never fill it up. This is just the unlimited reservoir of fuel. I just and I'm like, and where do they put the fuel? Because this backpack isn't that big, and with that type of force, what do you get 3 feet and then you need to fill up?
It's solar power, don't you know?
I just have a lot of questions about the schematics of this backpack.
It actually runs off of oxygen. The little fan. It's actually an intake valve, and it's just it's transferring oxygen into like pure energy.
Right.
It's a pretty gnarly concept. The alcohol is actually just I'm tired.
And the flux capacitor just kind of filters the alcohol, right?
Hey, it contains an entire nuclear blast within it, all right? Like, it's amazing.
It's actually run off of the blood of the victims from the Nazis. God, yeah. Wow. I said that and I was like, man, that was dark.
It's what makes time travel possible. The blood of Nazis.
All right. So I don't think any of us have an answer as to exactly how the fuel intake and everything works here. Here's my other question regarding this. Plain and simple, is Cliff fireproof?
Oh, because of the fire coming out of the bottom of the jetpack.
First
Like
of all,
why it's not burning at the
let's
back of
just
his
talk
eye.
like realistically. Let's talk about the heat that thing's generating, and how you're. I mean, I don't know how you guys lit a candle. I've lit candles, and I get pretty close to the flame, and there's some pretty good heat. There's dual pack fire jets coming out of the back of this thing. I can only imagine how much heat that's generating, and how it's not just basically burning him alive is beyond me. And even when his plane goes down in the beginning of the movie, it's practically caught on fire, yet he is also fine. I'm like, oh, good, set me up. Let me know that he's fireproof. Okay. I see the groundwork.
He had a leather jacket on. That makes him.
I'm convinced. Yeah, he has pants. I'm convinced
He has a leather jacket on. That's all.
which would make it even hotter. I'm convinced he's fireproof, and I'm just gonna tell myself that, because that would kill somebody.
I'm trying so hard to find a good picture of him flying. And
Actually, he's made out of formaldehyde. Didn't you know? I don't know. Is formaldehyde fireproof?
Okay, so what it is Cliff is fireproof. Therefore, there's something on his body that soaks into the straps of the backpack, that then liquefies and goes into the jetpack to have unlimited fuel. I think I've cracked the case.
So every time the jetpack is turned on, it's also spitting out a fire extinguisher at the same time.
Absolutely.
So here's the biggest problem I'm currently seeing for just like why your argument makes so much sense for everything is every time he's flying, the flames are literally right above
At his heels.
like
I know.
right above his ass.
Uh-huh.
The heels and everything, I can move past that, because at least we'll say air around that has cooled enough to where it's not going to melt his shoes.
God forbid if that dude lets out a fart in midair. that's an A-bomb, dude.
I really hope he's learned to, not fart. Flying. What the problem is, what I'm trying to see is, it looks like in some pictures the jetpack actually has like a plate that's made to like cover the flyer's ass to protect them from that jet stream, but there aren't any good pictures. It's freaking obnoxious. I'm trying. Okay, here's the picture that I've got. It's got a really good view of the jetpack where you can see like where the engines are, like, or the, I don't know what you call it, the jets, whatever, that the flames, where they would come out. I'm not a fucking aeronautical genius.
Exhaust pipe? I don't know.
Exhaust.
But those you can see those, and there is like an extended back plate that covers the ass. That's plain and simple. It covers the ass. So that's my only argument, is that there is this ass plate, which also looks to be on a hinge, so it may like direct the flame away from the body. I don't know. This is me trying to save as much as I can of it's a jetpack. It's been the fundamental flaw in jetpacks since the history of jetpacks is there's a flame above your ass. How does it not burn you? So let's just accept that jetpacks are flawed from the beginning, but when we see them, they don't burn our feet.
It's all video game logic at that
Video
point.
game logic. It's a comic book.
It's why I just let it slide. Especially when I saw him in a burning airplane, and I'm like, all right, he's fireproof. Got it.
Yeah.
We will continue.
I do appreciate the reason I'm fighting so hard of like why something like would be designed to protect something like that is because I love the props department, the people who made this jetpack, designed this jetpack, would have had that thought, would have had that detail to add, because I want to say every version that you ever see of like the jetpack does not have this flap, but every time that he's wearing it, it does. So it's like I feel like it's one of those things that it's been like the design is there, the thought was there, at least by the props department, but for aesthetic purposes, it's not there. But yeah, video game logic, comic book logic, whatever, you just gotta accept. It's jetpacks. Jetpacks don't work or make sense, but they're fun.
I gotta say, if anyone ever creates one, that would be the coolest thing, to just be able to put on a thing and fly to wherever you need to get to.
Well, think
People
about
can't even drive cars. I don't want them.
yeah.
No.
I'll keep it short because I've already kind of said it already. So I'm sorry, Brian.
No, you're good. Do you, man? Have fun.
I forget every time that we need to just say what the scene is and not talk about it.
Maybe we should have a rule where everyone titles their scene.
Make everybody guess until we actually talk about it to be like, oh, that's what you're talking about. I'll call mine rocket truck.
Rocket truck.
Nailed it, Nick. You nailed it.
So creative.
You crushed it, man. Rocket truck is like, that's the one.
Hey, I didn't take 3 weeks of improv for nothing.
What would I call that one? Oh, I think I would have called it "Truck This Shit."
No, you got to do the full one. It's truck this shit. I'm out.
Oh, there we go.
Truck this shit, I'm out.
Truck this shit, I'm out. That's perfect. That's it. Good layup, man. Whoop.
Yeah. The creativeness of how a jetpack could be used in movies is fun. You know, like if somebody had a boat that didn't have a motor on it, they could snap on their jetpack. If the boat was lost at sea, they could go out there and rescue them. Just grab onto the back of the boat, jetpack them to shore. You know, like it's just cool. The possibilities are endless.
Titanic could have used a couple of jetpacks in the back to turn them a little faster.
Let's not talk about that. Okay.
Perfect Storm definitely could have used one to get over that giant wave.
Yeah. Titanic could have used one.
That would have been pretty helpful. I agree though, Nick, because I think, especially first time watching it, I was like, well, that was creative.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw what they were doing with it immediately when they put it in neutral. But it took me to see that to realize, oh, that's actually a really, really smart way to utilize the rocket pack, to get away from the people that are chasing you.
Yep.
Because it's like, no way you're catching up to that. There's no way you're catching up to that. So I was like, that was super, super creative.
You see the truck going, and it has to be going like 100 miles an hour.
I love PB's face the whole time.
I feel like it's got to be going faster than 100.
Maybe like a 120, 150. I don't know. It was definitely over 100.
That thing is hauling.
Obviously, the footage is sped up, I'm sure, but if that's supposed to be
for real.
Yeah, that was real stunt.
The creativeness of the multi-function of a jetpack is why I picked that scene.
That leaves Jen's.
The library.
So this all. Sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to skip you. That's my bad. But are all scenes kind of like connect in a nice way? So Jen, your scene is essentially right after Rocket in My Soup.
What's your title?
She thinking.
Peekaboo.
I'm giving it to you.
Oh, that's good.
I'm giving it to you. You get a good applause.
That's good. I'm not even going to try to top that.
That was good.
I know there's really not much that we can say about it, because really the scene that I think a normal person would pick is what's revealed behind the peekaboo. But me, I just like the bookshelf, and then you pull the book, and then it's a door.
I can't remember, how easily did she find it? Because it seemed like she was pretty quick.
She knew, yeah. She picked up. She was like, "It's that book. I know it."
What book was it?
I can't. It starts with a C.
Oh, then it must have been something just like obvious.
Or it was like the Great Something. The Great Something.
Okay, so I'm either thinking Casablanca or The Great Gatsby.
Oh.
No, it was like the Constantine, maybe? Isn't that a Constantine is a rocket? Or it's a star.
Oh, I don't know. See, now I'm really intrigued. Like you didn't think this was like a big deal, but like this is important to me now. Here it is. The Conquest of Casanova.
Oh, Casanova.
Oh, that is no. Of course, the Conquest of Casanova. See, that ties in perfectly with all of the shit that just happened right before she finds this.
What is the okay, what we gotta know the backstory for Conquest of Casanova.
Well, you've heard of the phrase of like a guy being referred to as a Casanova.
I've heard Cowboy Casanova from Carrie Underwood.
Well, I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
that's the
just
thing.
like Casanova, but with a cowboy hat on. But essentially, a Casanova is just a guy who he's essentially a pickup artist. Like he can get any woman he wants, and
Okay.
so like I said, like it makes perfect sense for why she would pick that one, especially after what just happened, right? It's like this dude kidnaps her, drugs her, and now he's trying to be all suave and like this is this part of the scene that I'd really like to talk about. It is everything that is right up that leads up to her finding the peekabook, but I don't want to steal the scene.
She goes to the distress radio thinking that it's American, and then all of a sudden she's like,
It's German.
why is Germany yelling at me right now? And then she starts to see all these the Nazi symbols, and then she's like, what am I in right now? It just comes to her, and then all of a sudden Sinclair shows up again.
I thought the jetpack plans were the Germans' plans, because they were talking before about how like their model of jetpack wasn't working.
Yeah, that's why they stole Peabody's.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't realize it was stolen.
Yeah, and she was just stealing the plans back.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to miss because you see Lothar steals them as he's running away from the feds when he's trying to take out Cliff and Peavy. That's initially how he gets those plans. You wouldn't recognize Peavy's name because it's signed A. Peabody. That's his real name.
That's what that said. Okay, because they show a close up of that, and I was like, I can't read that.
Yeah, it's like A. Peabody, which is Peavy's real name.
Mhm.
But I'm sure like I can't remember, but there's some sort of mention of like his actual name, so like you would catch that, or like you would know that she would know what his real name is. It's just it's a quick thing, so like it's easy to miss. But those are Peavy's plans, and she steals them back, hiding them in the most classic of places.
That was just the Danes move, man.
I'll say this: she makes a much better spy than Cliff did.
Yeah.
Jeez, that freaking idiot.
I have a head scratcher. This is when, what was he doing? It's like when he was still up above that little attic place in the cafe, and it jumps. Okay, and so I just remember like he's talking, and then all of a sudden like a gun just pops up from down below.
Oh, Peabody's up there?
Was it, or it was Cliff? It was either Peabody or Cliff.
Cliff takes off and Peabody's left up there, and then a gun comes up.
What happened?
So you actually, it's the surprise of it, right? Like you don't know who it is. You just see a gun being pointed at Peavy. But because he's with Howard Hughes at the end, it's the FBI.
Oh, okay.
He's picked up by the FBI. They take him to Howard Hughes, and that's why when Cliff gets taken by the FBI there.
Okay.
Yeah, we know who it is. We've been talking to him.
Got it. Okay, I missed that.
Well, and it's not obvious. It's meant to be with you're left with Peavy with a gun. It's like, oh no, what happens to Peavy?
Like what happens? Yeah.
So it's kind of meant to be left on that sort of like cliffhanger of what happens to him. So when he shows up at Howard Hughes, you're like, oh, thank God.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the beginning of that scene. So this is actually where my medical question is for you, Brian, if you can answer. She is obviously put to sleep using chloroform, which one, I appreciate that it actually took some time because chloroform is not an instant.
Yeah,
that's not how it works, although that's how movies make it work. So I appreciate there was at least a little bit of struggle before and she's out. And I say struggle.
You enjoy that, Matt? You enjoy that?
Shut up. No. Don't twist my words, you bastard. See, now you are the bearded bastard. Anyway.
How quickly we fall.
Exactly. But especially the whole point of what I'm trying to get at. So she wakes up, she does a little bit of scouting, and then she's like, oh shit, he's coming. So she puts herself back to sleep. My question, because I've never actually experienced it myself, I assume those are essentially smelling salts that he uses to wake her up. Here's my question: considering she's already awake, one, her reaction normal or accurate to somebody who would be like jolted awake? And two, what are smelling salts like when you are conscious? Because I know it's a trick, at least with hockey players, to have smelling salts on the bench and like to kind of like jolt them up. I myself have never smelt a smelling salt, so I don't know what that experience is.
I'm not too expertise in smelling salts either. I do know that like they're used them on football fields, especially if someone gets rendered unconscious. They will try to snap one open, but this is more old school. This is definitely like a 90s thing versus now. I don't think they have salts for the field, but they used to just crack them open and be like, there, he's back. I don't know. I was kind of wondering that too. To me, it did look a little fake. Like I'm already up, but I need to make it. I need to make like the surprise wake up. But I'm like, that looked a little forced. To answer your question, I don't know what the experience is like if you're already awake and you're sniffing the salt. I would imagine it's twice as bad. When you give salt, you're unconscious. You're not really fully there, and so then you smell it, but it's like your senses kick in, but it hasn't fully kicked in yet. Where if you're awake, you're full, you're alert, you're ready to go. So I'm only guessing this is probably worse. But again, I haven't had the experience.
What is smelling salts, or what are smelling salts supposedly? What do they smell like? Like,
no clue.
See, this is what kills me. Like, hockey players are known to do this, to have smelling salts like on the bench, and it's like, they're tired and just they need that little like. It's like just like take a couple of whiffs and it's like, okay, I'm up.
See, when you went to the medical, I thought you were going to talk about the vase to the head.
Oh, that was I hate anything where people are smashing things on the head because it was.
And that's I question. I was like, wait a sec. The force went through. Like there wasn't any pushback. You hit someone bluntly, and it doesn't go through. Now you're taking the force of that object to the transferring it to your head. Where if it goes through, you're taking the force of the object past your head because all the energy just went along with it. And I'm like, I don't think you would certainly not knock out that quickly. It was just like crash dead.
I think this whole thing of a vase to the head was a cliche in movies from the 30s and 40s.
Big time.
It's like, obviously, it's like sugar glass or whatever, because they weren't actually going to hit the actors back then. But to do that exact same kind of a joke cliche in 1991, like, it works. Like, even though we know that, it's like it's more of like a stylized hit over the head rather than like a realistic one.
Yeah.
It's just a callback to the old times, I guess. So I can't really say like, oh, that face to the head was not realistic. Well, yeah, obviously, because it's a joke.
Obviously, duh. They do this all the time in movies where it's like this weak hit to something and it shatters, and it's like what your motion and body is doing does not have any kind of solid pretend force behind it for me to believe that this thing should shatter to this degree. I agree with you, Nick, because I think there's a lot of things that they did in this movie that were supposed to be like callbacks, not maybe jabs, but like callbacks to old time Hollywood. And I do think that that's probably one, and it's meant to be kind of like an in joke. But the reason it doesn't work for me is like this isn't taking place around any sort of set. This is supposed to be real life, and it's also supposed to be a very dangerous situation. For her to like knock him out that way, it did feel very comical, but not funny. She does this week, and like you said, Brian, there's no momentum of even carrying it through his head. It's just, it hits his head and it shatters. It doesn't work for me. And then there is a slight moment where he's like, hit, response, down. That's about how ridiculous this was. If I was directing, I would want it to feel more realistic, especially since there's so much about this movie where it's like, we got to keep it feeling real at times because it is so comic book. It is so ridiculous.
I mean, it's like I said in the beginning. I mean, even at times, it almost felt like a Three Stooge to me.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Or the Three Musketeers.
We did have a scene in mind, which I've actually now blanked on because Nick asked questions and I can't remember what it was. But I remember asking Brian to come up with a title for it. So I'm looking forward to see if he did.
Challenge accepted. I believe the scene that you were talking about is when they are in the filming of a movie.
Yes.
Within a movie.
Yes.
They're in a movie filming a movie.
A sword fight.
And here is your title. A broke Castle Rock production.
Okay. Okay.
I like it.
Castle Rock is a production company. Is it broke? They got no money.
No, not that.
Broke in.
No, it doesn't have to do with money.
Okay.
Homeboy takes out their walls.
Broke in.
Okay, so it's a broken Castle Rock production.
Well, it doesn't have. Well, that's more literal, but
All right, fine. I was pretty happy with my title, considering I had literally 2 minutes to think it up.
Dude, I'm not. Wow, I loved it. It's great. Here, applause.
Here's your pity applause.
You got so indignant about it. I was like, I liked the title.
You never read Matt. He's a tough one, guys.
Because the smile really doesn't give it.
I refuse to ever play poker with him.
Wow, okay. Now I just need to know what beats what in poker, and I will absolutely win.
Just play Yahtzee. It's poker without the game.
I'll play poker with you, Matt. You're still in the club.
Poker. I'd rather play Yahtzee.
Yahtzee's practically poker.
That's what I'm saying. It's poker without the gambling.
Yeah, but that's the best part about Yahtzee is like it tells you, all right, you want pairs, you need a string, you need 2 2s, you need 3 3s, you need 4 4. It tells me what I need, and I just mark it up.
I always thought the best part of Yahtzee is screaming Yahtzee.
You almost never get Yahtzee.
Never get it.
That's not true.
I just realized that Jen is eating Tillamook ice cream. Is it strawberry?
White chocolate raspberry.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's the best one.
That's a really good one.
All right.
Has
I'm
some-
eating ice cream when I get home. I'm finally tapping into it. Thank you, Jen.
I really like the podcast where they talk about ice cream.
Shut up.
It doesn't say when the buy one get one is over on the app, so make sure you get it.
Just go get ice cream. Let's talk about this scene. The movie within a movie within a movie. Oh, he's just now realizing I muted him? What a dumbass. Yeah, whatever. Anyway. Don't be a fool, Data. Yes, let's talk about this scene. I think it's a lot of fun, but I've got some questions about it. I've got some things. The main thing, every time I watch this scene, my immediate thought is, my name is Inigo Montoya. Kill my father. Prepare to die. Every time. He looks so much like Mandy Patinkin in The Princess Bride. It's insane. Like it's like spitting image. It's weird. I always like hope and assume that was like an actual nod because he's like a swashbuckling guy, right? Like he's, the whole thing. Everything about him gave Inigo Montoya, which did come out a bit before this. So could be a nod. I don't know. I hope it does. Or I hope it is. But it's so much fun. You go through the first take, which is great, and it's his reaction, and then you get to the second take, and then oh god, she actually did decent. Okay, and his reaction is so condescending.
No, she didn't.
It's better. It's better.
Terrible. Get her out.
It's better. It's the producer's daughter. It's like Jesus again, Hollywood. But it's such a fun scene, and I have my complaints. There is no way, or there's no excuse for anybody to slightly lean on a set piece like that and for it to come crashing down that easily. One, Cliff shouldn't be there in the first place. Fact. Cliff shouldn't touch anything. Fact. There's no way. If I was a part of any set piece that was that flimsy and we're like, yeah, we're going for it, I'm like, no, I cannot abide. Cannot abide. Not only is it not safe, it's not professional. Like, that's ridiculous. That he barely touches that thing and it comes crashing down. Ridiculous. Was that what was keeping that thing up? Was it leaning at like a 5-degree angle and then he just happens to tip at 90 and it's like, oh no, what the fuck?
No, you're right. I got nothing.
Okay. Next thing, he stabs the guy.
The prop guy is fired.
Oh, set guy, different person.
Oh, set guy?
Set guy.
Yeah. See, why do I even bother with anything literature?
Props are the things like you hold, things that are on set.
Well, if you're Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you could hold that wall.
Just 2x4s, that's all.
Yeah.
You could swing him around, turn him into a baseball bat.
We need this castle wall here.
Oh god, now I want it. I want to see The Rock just like carrying giant walls.
Or like Arnold. Or like Arnold and The Rock. Like, just like
they're just set guys. They're on a Broadway show and you see them out there moving. Giant men in black. It's
just playing Twister on their brakes.
what?
He stabs the guy and he's so casual about this. And the guy that gets stabbed has the best reaction.
Yeah.
Was I stealing the scene? It's so good that you can tell that this guy is like he's been stabbed, but I don't know in this moment if he's just making a joke or if he's actually genuinely asking this dude is like, did you stab me on purpose? And like, why? And then Sinclair just casually goes like, yeah, I take him to this hospital, give him the best care ever, and then sends him on his way. No biggie. You just stabbed a dude.
No, it was by accident, and I think he was joking, and I think he knew that it was by accident because he was stabbed in the hand, right?
I think he was stabbed in the side. It's something that I mean to look for every time I watch this. It's like, oh yeah, because I always miss the stabbing. Like Sinclair he's on screen this entire time. How do I miss the stabbing? Because I'm watching the fucking wall falling down. Like, when did he get stabbed? Where did he get stabbed? Because it just cuts to like, oh my God, Charlie's been stabbed. And he's like, oh my God, Charlie.
And I just noticed that he had blood on the hand. So I was like, oh, I wonder if he just got poked in the hand maybe. Because I didn't see any other blood anywhere, but it's quick.
I have a quote from that scene that I really liked.
Yeah.
It's when the director goes up to the woman who like delivers that line like terribly, and the director just goes, acting is acting like you're not acting.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I never like thought of it in that perspective, that's what acting is.
I don't think it's a bad description. What a bad way to direct somebody.
Yeah.
Act like
here's Webster's definition of acting. Like, you know,
it's so convoluted. When ultimately what he wants to say is, you're a bad actor, you better.
I wrote down that quote too, Nick. So
it was good.
It was definitely a good one.
I like his final cut. Like when is gone, and it's just like, Jenny, does anybody know Jenny? Cut. Like, I'm so done with this.
He was like defeated at the end of it.
Yeah, he was.
It's like, we finally got a decent take with this chick, and it's like, and now this, like, oh, fuck off. 28 takes. I'd be pissed too. In theory, that was a one shot that was happening there. I didn't notice if there were other cameras there to get other angles. That was the plan of like, keep the action going, but we're like live editing of it's going to be from this camera to this camera. I didn't notice, which seems like such an interesting concept, but terrifying.
This was actually a nitpick of mine. They do the whole like one camera shot, like the camera movement of all the action. They cut to the close-up of the woman delivering that line. Why do you need all of that to be one take if you're cutting to a close-up of her?
Okay, you're confusing our movie with their movie.
Wait.
We got those close-ups of from her, like from his perspective looking down on her, from her perspective looking up at him. That's
Mhm.
all for us. That's not
Yeah.
what their camera is doing.
Even on like the set, just have that be its own scene of her delivering that line, because everything else stops before she delivers that line. Just make those two separate takes.
Nothing stops. It's in the middle of the chaos. He's winning this fight. He jumps up on this thing. He's taking a victory sip because he's confident and a cocky swashbuckler. And she says this line, and he's like, "Cheers, milady." Continues the fight because everybody else behind him is still fighting.
This is the same equivalent of Elizabeth Swann and Mr. Turner trying to get married in the middle of their fight on the ship.
That's actually a really good comparison.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't realize it was like the R movies camera that was doing that.
Yeah, you have to think that their camera was essentially a wide shot.
Mhm.
That's all that was really happening. They may move the camera in to get those moments, but it's essentially a wide shot the entire time because it's about the action. So like they're following the fight as it goes up the staircase. They move the camera back so that it's a wide shot of him swinging on the ropes and landing on the table, and like it's all wide because it's all action. It's all about the action.
And they should have just used that perspective, like the POV of the film set's camera within the film. You know, sometimes movies will do that. They'll like start with the set in the film. Like they'll start with that camera and then they'll like cut back to like our movie camera. They should have done that with that scene. That would have contrasted like what we were actually looking at.
I'm really curious because I feel like they almost do. I can't remember how that scene begins, but I feel like it is somewhat from their camera's perspective. And then as it moves out, they show us, like it cuts to an even wider shot, shows us the set, shows their camera and director, and then cuts us back in.
We haven't touched on it yet, but I titled it "Never Touch the Red Button." This is when they first find the jetpack.
Okay, yeah.
And they're like, "Gee, wonder what this is." Why?
Oh, what's this do? Shit. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just funny to me because you see a red button and it gets touched, which is just always exciting to me. I love when people touch the red button. Nothing ever goes good when you touch a red button, ever. Just gonna say it. But what I was laughing out loud a little bit was when it did its like wacky flying thing, and then it goes like through the window, and then it just gets to this force that has stopped it, but it's going full force. Like the engines are still just and it's going absolutely nowhere, and they have to basically like GoPro stick it to turn it off. The sound of it was really cool as it was shutting. It almost sounded like a chainsaw that was just turned off, and I'm like, that was pretty good. But I just love the fact that they had the jetpack. It just kept wanting to move forward, but it was just going absolutely nowhere.
I think they have a lot of fun moments of like the early exploration of the jetpack it's a really fun time. I like that it's such a fun thing of him getting the broomstick out. And
Yeah.
like, you bring up the sound effect of it. I noticed it this time too. Like I don't know but I did take particular note of it. And I do love things that have kind of like an engine cooling down like that. The jet's gone, but like the motors are still slowing down. The fans are still slowing. Like I like that sound.
It wasn't a chainsaw. I just thought it was a table saw. That's what it sounded like. It was like a table saw that just is
slowly losing
the blade
momentum.
is slowing down.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it sounded like.
I would be curious to find out if that's not what they did.
That scene, it reminded me of when they discover Flubber for the first time.
Oh, yeah. What a comparison.
Like, yeah, like it's the exact same thing. There's another film where I think
I credit you for that one. Good job.
Yeah, there's another one that it reminded me of too, where I can't remember the name of the film, but it's like somebody puts these like a little sticky things on a basketball, and like the basketball like does the same thing.
Flubber.
Oh, is it Flubber? Okay, yeah, I remember
it's just later on.
Yeah. It's just like the Flubber scene.
They put the sticky things on their shoes too, and
forgot about that. Another thing too that I noticed that when the jetpack like hits the dirt, like the dirt farmland or whatever, you see it like gliding across the ground. I'm pretty sure that where the jetpack actually ends up being, like in that mound of dirt, before the jetpack actually reaches it, the amount of dirt is already there, as if like they had done like a couple takes before, and it just like fits like right in that pocket.
That mound of dirt was 100% there.
Okay, so I wasn't just seeing things.
Nick, I'm just glad you brought up this scene. No title for it. I didn't write it down. This was more of a head scratcher for me, and that's why I wrote it down. I just kind of want to unpack what they were thinking on this is the best way to test to test this newly found jetpack that we have discovered. We're gonna steal a statue. We're gonna anchor it to dirt soil, and that should be enough to keep the force from pulling it. And then the fact that it just comes back I don't know how it came back to them. It went off screen one way, but then it comes behind them. I just had a lot of questions on this scene. I challenge Matt on this to answer this one.
No, it's more comic book science, right? Like, one, I agree with you. It doesn't make sense for why you would you'd pin something down to dirt. It was holding strong for a while, but it's like this thing's gonna wiggle. Like, unless you're down there constantly keeping that thing in place, it's gonna move. But also, the thing that I didn't understand was if you have a control mechanism that ignites the jetpack, why can't it turn it off? And when it takes off and is no longer connected to the ignition, why doesn't that cut it off? I've got my own questions about this one. Again, I chalk it up to it's comic book science. Like the thing flies off into space, and that's just like the spectacle of it, right? It's like, huh, well, shit, it's gone. Well, we tried, and it's weird. You don't see it. And then again, there's no indication that thing is behind them, other than like us as the audience can see that light moving and getting closer,
like a firefly.
Peavy's reaction to it is like he something sends him back there quickly,
right?
And he spots it, and it's like, dude, there's no way you heard that or saw that coming. That reaction was a bit too extreme. We move past these things.
And then they run a straight line instead of taking like a button route out. I'm like, why are you running the straight line? Cut out left, cut out right.
Every time in movies, a tower is falling, something is rolling behind you. It's in a fixed path, and you are fully capable of running the 10 feet to the left or the right that gets you out.
Hit the slant.
God, yes, it makes no sense. I hate it. I hate things chasing people when they could easily move out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys are talking, I just remember my nitpick with the discovery of the rocket. I feel like their reaction was very nonchalant about the whole thing. I would think, like, in 1938, if you're seeing an invention like that, you're going to be absolutely mind blown. Now, the people at that show, their reaction was legit. But, like, for Cliff and even Peavy, it was just very, like, it's an everyday occurrence that there's a jetpack.
I agree. A little too cavalier about everything.
100% spot on. Being that it is 1938, I mean, the telephone practically broke society.
Right.
When Alexander Graham Bell, made that discovery and everything, and these guys have found a way for humans to fly. What can we do? Can we play with it? They should have been to the moon, just or even maybe partially afraid at the same time, to where it's like, what sorcery is, I mean, if this comes down in like Hocus Pocus era, that thing is going to the torch. Like, they're like, no, the devil's on the planet, we're leaving.
This is the devil's spaceship.
Like, Thackeray Binks would be like, nope, we're good. The Sandersons can have it. I didn't even think about it until you brought up the point. The reactions should have been different.
Still a fun scene. I like how it ends with him realizing that the head he's been holding on to has been crushed. He's like, I'm gonna need a helmet.
Yeah.
yeah, you will.
I know we already talked about the scene and everything, but we're talking about him flying and people's reactions. It just made me think, when he is flying next to the airplane, what are their thoughts on the airplane?
There's only one thought. what the fuck? This is another like trope of movies that I hate with people that are flying in movies. They always go by a passenger plane. They always see somebody in the windows. They always salute. It's like, God, stop it. Stop doing this. I hate it. I get why we do it. It's a cute, fun moment. You get wonderful reactions of people that are up in the air seeing this person flying. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It really is a what the fuck moment, and especially in this movie. But damn, do I hate them.
I feel like it's happened in Superman.
All of them, everything,
All of them,
all
right?
the time.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's the first one that comes to mind.
All of the time. Find a movie with a flying character. Tell me if they don't fly past a fucking passenger plane.
I even think Hancock did it.
All of them.
Yeah.
All do it. I hate it. Although with Hancock, I can't imagine you got a salute. It was more of a like a sup.
Yeah. Sup in a swing.
Yeah, exactly. You got a bottle opener? He's Hancock. He doesn't need a bottle opener.
Nothing like getting the FUIs.
Oh my god.
Bulldog Cafe scene where the bad guys come in looking for Cliff,
Ooh.
but they don't know that Cliff is there. I think this scene is played out really well. You know, the whole like throwing up the coffee pot and the shooting. Like he's like, oh, maybe I want some coffee. He throws a coffee pot, or maybe I want some toast and shoots the toast or whatever. It's really entertaining. And for us, like we know that Cliff is sitting at the bar, but they have no idea. My one thing though is
I think they might have.
They don't find out.
well, they find out when they're looking at the photos on the wall. It's because they see Jenny and Cliff together in a photo, and he like looks over at him. So they do discover him eventually. Or
I think the
confirm, at
lead
least.
guy had a hunch.
I really liked that payoff of like they look at the photos and then they see like, oh, like that's the guy, and then like the whole chaos just like ensues.
Her character's name is like Millie.
Is she the server or the
Yeah, the
waitress?
lady like owns the place. I'm trying to find her.
Yeah.
real fast. Here we go. Yeah, it's Millie. Margot Martindale. You guys seen her in so many things. I like the way that everybody in this scene kind of like plays their part as like they're all trying to, all right, be cool. Who's Cliff? We don't know who Cliff is. But the way that she kind of like, this is my place, and even at the very beginning, she is like, well, if you guys aren't going to order, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Like, you know, she's trying to take command, and she's being very like stern about it. She's like, it's obviously like, you guys are bad guys. I don't want you around here. Please go. And like nervous, but she does such a great job throughout this entire scene. And then when it, like all hell breaks loose and like, oh shit, they know, and everybody turns, it's like she's right there with them of like ready to go. And I think she's protected because I can't remember, is the little girl there?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
She comes out with the frying pan and hits one of the guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like the cast iron.
Yeah, she's right there in the fight too, right? Like that's what I love about her, is like her character is like from the beginning, she's all about the protection. She's ready to fight back. She's ready to do, and it's such a great group dynamic that they have. And I'm fairly certain there's no way that they would put that little girl in that room while like firing stuff, like not only from a storytelling standpoint, but just like in general. You don't want to put a child in that situation.
I'll make a callback, Matt, for you. Remember earlier how we were talking about the vase, like the shattered vase to the head, and then like how it's supposed to be comical, but it didn't make us laugh. Mm-hmm. With Millie using the frying pan, you know, to bonk him over the head and pass out. That's what I needed for the vase scene.
Yeah,
something like a frying pan or like a fire extinguisher, something with weight and heaviness to it.
At least make it feel like it's got weight or heaviness to it.
Yeah, Millie brings out a cast iron. Like that shit's heavy.
And she swings it like it is.
And like feels like two-handed, like
yeah. Guaranteed that thing is made out of like a foam rubber. So as it's hitting him, it's like tink, but not, it's nothing. It's
sure.
Enough to react. But she's swinging that thing like it weighs.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some pounds to it.
We haven't really talked much about, or actually at all about, what is his name? Paul Sorvino.
Oh, Valentine?
Yes, who plays Eddie Valentine.
He's got one of my favorite lines.
I struggled with this one a little bit because he's Paulie from from Goodfellas, and it's such a different role for him. To me, it was like Goodfellas 1990, The Rocketeer 1991. It's such a hard change where you're just like, you were slicing garlic with a razor in prison, and now you're chasing a rocketeer.
Now he's working for the Nazis.
You didn't know that.
He didn't know. And when he
Hollywood
did know, he turned around real quick. I mean, that scene where he's side by side with the FBI, I was like, good job, guys. Well done. Man, I struggled with Uncle Paulie as as Eddie Valentine. And then the whole like mobster thing, I'm just I'm kind of indifferent on it, I guess.
I like him. I think Eddie Valentine is a fun character. Like, I mean, my biggest thing is like they don't really seem super scary. It's comic book mafia.
Big time.
And it's okay.
Dick Tracy.
Yes, yeah. I like what they do, but it's I would have wanted more from them. I'm not saying Goodfellas level of like intensity, but I want these guys to feel more mob. These dudes are hanging out in the swankiest club. Obviously they own the swankiest club.
Yeah.
That's where they're hanging out. And it's like, I get it, you guys are Hollywood mafia and like you're high class and everything, but like I still need to see you doing the shady shit to know that you are dangerous guys.
Yeah.
Everybody has a weapon that they are openly firing. Because who gives a shit? That's how we handle the bad guys. We just fire into a house until everybody's dead and like, hey, mission accomplished. I wish I had more from them. But Eddie Valentine has one of my favorite moments. And it reminds me of another comic book moment. I wish I could remember what comic book it's actually from. It's the Joker. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's during like a DC Marvel crossover. He had been teamed up with the Red Skull or something. And then when he finds out that he's a Nazi, he turns on him. He basically was like, I may be a psychopathic killer clown, but I'm an American psychopathic killer clown. This is the Joker turning on Nazis. Like even the Joker knows like Nazis are fucked up.
That's saying something.
Yeah, exactly. So this moment where Eddie Valentine is like, wait, you are the Nazis? He even says it like, I may not make an honest buck, but I'm an American. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna work for some Nazi fuck. I don't know what he actually said. And I know there was an F word dropped in a Disney movie, but still.
Nazi buck.
It's what he should have said.
I would have liked to have seen Eddie be played by Danny DeVito, like 90s Danny DeVito, like Matilda twins. If they had elevated Eddie Valentine's character to be a little bit more prominent,
Danny DeVito would be interesting.
It would, because he's already been the Penguin.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I would have preferred him over Paul Sorvino any day.
I feel like he would have brought like some comic relief too.
Yeah, that's not a bad suggestion at all. Keep the Goodfellas out of this movie. Like,
I don't know. I would have liked to see Pesci.
No, not Pesci.
Here's how I feel about Pesci. He is such a good like mob guy, but he never gets to be the mob boss. I want to see him as the leader. I want to see him as the guy who's like, no, I'm in fucking charge. Not the guy that's like having to justify his like decisions to the boss.
Right.
I want to see Pesci in that power. My cousin Vinny, don't tell me he can't do comedy.
Oh, that's a great. Oh man, that court scene in my cousin.
Oh yeah, he can do comedy for sure.
He can do comedy. I mean,
Home Alone.
Yeah.
What shit in the Pesci commanding that courtroom, right?
Yeah.
Pesci for Valentine. Maybe in the remake, maybe in the reboot, we get Pesci back.
That mafia to me almost was like if the Rugrats just put themselves in pinstripes and tried to run shit. Like, and it just seemed so non-mobster. And this is coming from someone who, I mean, I really got into like the mafia history and all the actual real mafia movies and everything, and you compare their actions compared to what's going on here, and you're like, oh, forget it. Like you guys would be eaten alive. Like Sonny Corleone would just in 2 seconds just pop you. Like, no, we're not dealing with this.
It's like the PVV trying to be hard.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's like, that's cute. Double Dutch is that way.
One of my problems with this film is like you kind of have these like two villainous groups. You have the Nazis, and then you have these mafia guys, and obviously the Nazis are worse. And typically, like
They've infiltrated America.
I know, but a lot of movies, the mafia is like the main enemy, and so now it's like they feel like a step down from being the main enemy in this film. It's either take them out or amp them up. Maybe the mafia and the good guys like form an alliance together against the Nazis or something.
In real life, the mafia was a big part of like finding Nazis, and the mob was a big part in World War II of like finding hidden Nazis.
The mafia, in going to real life, was also very heavily. They had their hands in everything, especially when it came to like Hollywood. And I mean, they even had their hands in garbage. I mean, whatever they can get their hands on, they did, and they tried to own it and operate it. Politics, you name it. And so when you see mafia in the movie based on 1938, okay, I understand. That's historically accurate. The persona that you've given them, not accurate by any means. I mean, that's where I think that's the disconnect. It makes sense that they were put in this movie based on the timeline, based on the location too. I mean, clearly they're in LA, Hollywood area. There's no, I don't think they fully disclose exactly where their hangar base and all that is, but it is clear as day that this was supposed to be Los Angeles in 1938. They'd be hanging out with A-list actors because they most likely are getting these roles because of the mafia, and they're getting their kick on it. I mean, essentially they're agents, but strong handling agents. And so that all makes sense. It's just the charisma and the lack of threatening anything that they provide is it really takes away. Like, you can't have nice mafia. It just doesn't work.
Maybe that's why they chose Paulie, to try and give that edge.
But he didn't have the edge. I mean, compare Paulie to Eddie.
Paulie was terrifying.
He looked at you wrong, and you're like, oh shit. If Eddie looks at you wrong, you're like, is it my birthday? Did you come with presents? Like, you have to be real intimidating to look intimidating, slicing garlic with a razor. That's all I'm saying. Like, that is mad talent.
I think this was another example of them trying to kind of make somewhat of a parody of like old time Hollywood. And I think that maybe it was an effort of getting the mafia to kind of look like the old caricature of mob guy, the pinstripe suit and the fedora, like the stuff that's like, it's not like super intimidating, but they're super flashy and like they're very styled. Maybe something along those lines of like trying.
Well, they had the pinstripes; they were rocking them.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just going for that stereotype to be one to like to keep them somewhat of like, yes, they're a threat, but they're not threatening.
We never talked about Lothar, aka King Kong Gentleman, aka Frankenstein.
I did like when he called him that King Kong Gentleman or something.
Yeah, well, that's my name.
Yes, is it King Kong Gentleman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So good. King Kong Gentleman.
AKA Frankenstein.
Yeah.
First time I saw this dude on screen, I think he was it the hospital?
He crawls through the hospital window.
Yes, yeah. And just, I mean, you see that chin. At first I was like, is that real? Like, I just, the way that they do the shadows and the lighting, it was hard to tell at first. And then, like, as you see him more often in the film, you could tell it's like, especially when he talks the first time, his chin does that like rah, 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 rah.
Like he's a puppet or like a marionette or something.
Yeah, like his lips were not like moving to what he was saying. Just a creepy dude just running around.
What a weird trademark to be like, I fold people in half.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
He sound like Optimus Prime.
A little bit.
A little okay. I was curious.
Where's Jenny?
Autobots roll out.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing is like he has the same cadence as Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the fact that he's so monotone.
Where's the rocket?
Where's the rocket? Yeah. Oh my God. It's so bad.
When he picks up Cliff and just shoves him into the ceiling.
It is fun.
Oh my God. Dude,
Where's the rocket?
the second time you like busts him up in the ceiling, like he doesn't move, but like the ceiling is fixed again.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? It's like
Actually,
I
what
think
I
he moves
noticed
him
is
further, so
Cliff's
it's a
head
bigger
has
hole.
gone through two structures in this movie. The floor of an airplane and the ceiling of a house.
It's his signature. Doesn't he get stuck somewhere else, like in the restaurant? I can't
In the
remember.
Bulldog Cafe,
So like, no, the fancy one, the rocket
The
South Seas,
seashell something.
South Seas.
Sally's seashells. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yes, that place. Because I remember he takes off through the laundry chute and pops out in the women's bathroom, and he's on like a cart as he's moving
I
forward.
forgot about that scene. Yeah.
But I thought at some point, like as he's flying around, like he gets his head stuck in something, and that's what like he gets caught.
Oh wow, he might.
Yeah?
If he did, then that's 3 for 3. The hat
I
trick.
can't remember. I honestly I feel like there's something else he got his head stuck in.
I have a nitpick. This is when they're on the blimp
Yes,
and they're all fighting and everything. And
Zeppelin.
yes, the Zeppelin. Sinclair wants the jetpack. Cliff goes to give him, and he's like, "Okay, fine. There's no way out. Like we've been beat, right?" And then he swipes the gum just a little bit off of the leak. Here's my nitpick. Sinclair goes to pick up the jetpack. His hands are like wrapped around it, and his face is practically right in front of it, and he doesn't notice the gum.
The gum has always been there. That's why he didn't take the gum off.
I know, but how? Like I noticed, I saw the gum from the angle of the camera. It's right there. You can still see the gum. I don't see how Sinclair didn't notice it.
I'm saying he did.
He noticed the gum.
He noticed the gum.
He noticed the gum.
He noticed the gum. My point being, if the easiest solution for Cliff to get that thing to leak, take the gum off.
Yes.
But then Sinclair sees him take the gum off. So by like brushing it enough to open it up and keeping the gum there, Sinclair sees that the gum is still there and knows that it's safe to fly.
Okay.
If he picks it up and that gum is gone, he sees the hole. The gum has to stay there, otherwise it becomes suspicious.
So you're saying he already noticed that there was gum there?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
didn't bother to flick it off.
Got it.
What is the yeah, I'm not gonna defend, like, okay, I think we all agree, like, oh, why is there gum on this? It's gross. Get it off. Are you gonna touch somebody else's gum?
No, but you'll find something, a tool.
Who's got time to you know when you find a tool to get the gum off your jetpack is when you're flying far away from the people who are shooting at you and you've made it safely into your lab. That's when you bother to get the gum off the jetpack.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I get what you guys are getting at with the gum. I really do. Think about the moment. You're on a Zeppelin. It's about to be on fire, and you've got it. You've got your jetpack, the thing that you've been desperately trying to get. Your main concern is not like, ew, gross gum.
Like saying that you don't just pull out floss from your back pocket and get that and for your gums.
Dude, I don't have
gums?
floss in my house. What makes you think I'm going to have it in my back pocket?
While we're on the topic of gum, let's just even unpack this a little bit more.
Let's unwrap this one.
Gum was used to plug this hole in the jetpack where, you know, whatever is leaking. And they were just like, yeah, this will. I didn't realize until watching the movie that I always thought if it leaks, it's just going to run out and, you know, that'll be that. I didn't realize it basically becomes a self-exploding bomb type thing, right? So they are trusting that this little tiny piece of gum is going to be the strongest gum of any gum that has ever gummed.
It's lucky gum.
It's just unbelievable that they're like, we're just going to put this here and then we're going to save the world and do our mission. But this gum is not going to go anywhere. We promise.
It goes back to the superstitions, right? Like,
You couldn't just put like a piece of metal, kind of weld it right on top, and then throw the gum on top of your welded metal. I feel like
at
that's
what point do you have enough time to weld a little piece?
Yeah, that's what I say.
He even says, like, can you fix it? And it says in a couple of hours. Like, it's gonna take time to
Does
fix
it really
to
take that
patch it.
long? I don't know anything. I don't know much about welding. I feel like if I had a little piece of metal or even like duct tape seems to be the cure for everything. And
I
then
don't
put
think
the
they had
gum over the duct tape.
Do they have duct tape in 38?
Who knows? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm curious, but I don't think so. Watch the timeline of what happens with this jetpack. It's in the house. They're getting shot at by the feds. It takes a ricochet. Thing is leaking. By the time they realize it's leaking, he's putting it on because he's got to fly.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? Give me your gum. Bam, we're plugging this hole. Now, again, we've established superstition. It's lucky gum. And at this point, Peavy has even himself realized you don't fuck with the gum. There's all of that working for it at that point.
Okay.
And after that moment,
So it's a superstition that keeps it from not falling.
well, and remember, this is the moment that's leading off to the fish under the sea dance. After all of the time that he has flying with that, there's Peavy's gone because he takes off from there, puts the gum on, takes off from there. Peavy's gone. Who's going to fix it? The next time he has any, he gets back to the Bulldog Hotel or a Bulldog restaurant. Peavy's gone. Bam, he's caught by the feds and taken it. So he's hidden away the jetpack at that point. So at no point is there any opportunity for that hole to be fixed properly, or even more so than having gum stuck to it. I think what's most impressive is that gum stayed soft enough for him to be able to move it out of the way.
That, yes.
Which is why what was the name of this gum again? Because
Beeman's.
Beeman's. I'm about to buy stock in Beeman's. It's the world's greatest gum, and it's lucky.
Okay, so duct tape was invented in 1943.
Not existing yet.
And also, did you guys know it was duct? Like duct?
Yeah, DUCT.
I always thought it was duck.
Well, it doesn't help that they advertise it with ducks, right?
Yeah.
I never knew you pronounce it duct. Duct
tape.
Duct tape, yeah. It's
We don't say the t sound.
Yeah.
That T is somewhat silent because you hit the tape, right? So it's duct tape.
Yeah. Duct tape.
Duct tape.
I grew up, I was like duct space tape.
Yeah. And it knew exactly what you were talking about, though, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It's invented by a woman.
Oh, women invent the best stuff. I believe it was actually designed for like ducts, like air vents and ducts to connect them.
It was invented by a woman, you said?
Yeah.
They definitely needed a reason to shut their husband's mouth up.
Dude, I was literally
That's
just
what it
thinking
is.
the exact same thing. I was like, put him over the mouth.
Yep.
This is why
They're like, yeah, we're done with your shit.
stuff.
Not giving us rights. Here you go.
Shut up. I can't vote, but I can shut your mouth. Fuckers.
This is my last scene that I wrote, actually.
The shizzle.
I've called it hang glyscaping.
Hang glyscaping.
Hang glide scaping?
No, like
No.
gly, and then
He's trying to make a play on something, and I can't.
This one did not strike. That's all right. I was pretty good tonight. You think he's actually about to be taken in, but to
I know now.
the FBI,
I know.
and he breaks free,
Yeah.
runs, jumps on the airplane, and it's literally hanging, and just slides all the way down. I was like, man, that's a cool move. But they doubled down by letting the airplane just soar on its own. And now in pitch dark with the white airplane, I'm like, that looks incredible. it was just really, really cool. So I looked at it as like hang gliding, but he's actually escaping. So we went with hang glide escaping.
I believe, fun fact about that plane, it's a real plane that Howard Hughes had designed, and people were saying that it was too big to fly. Like there was no way it would ever fly, and that's why when he sends it off and it takes off and he says, "So it will fly," it was just kind of like a nod to that, where people said it would never fly. He did in fact build it at a certain point, and he did fly it. I think it only went like 4 miles or something, and
It's in the Aviator,
Is it in the Aviator?
and it's massive.
What is it? It's like the Goose something, right?
I forgot yeah. Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is the Goose.
It's like the Goose something. But yeah, like it only flew once.
It's massive.
Yeah, and obviously the little model doesn't portray well. But yeah, apparently it was so massive, it was so big, and people said it would never fly. And then he did fly it, flew it, I think about like 4 miles or something, but only at like an elevation of like 200 feet or something.
It was over the ocean.
He flew at 200 or wow.
It's in the movie. He starts off in the ocean, takes off, and then comes back down.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only time it flies.
Aviator, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a good movie.
Here's my opinion that nobody asked for about this scene. While Brian visually it does look cool, I felt it to be a little anticlimactic because it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
It's just like this, like it's what happens the entire scene, and it's like, oh, he's getting away. It's like, get up, hurry!
I didn't even notice that actually.
It's just
That's
it made me laugh so hard because I was like, well, I guess he's getting away.
I mean, he did say no guns.
It's the only reason that explains why he'd be able to glide through and like unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
But to Nick's point, after he gets down to the bottom and the thing takes off, everybody's still up in that balcony. Everybody's still up there. Nobody has begun to run or chase after him. Cliff runs out of the hangar, stops, looks back.
Yeah.
No one there. There's nobody chasing. I was like, okay, and now I'm back off again. Like it's the worst chase scene ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a cool move of him like jumping off this balcony, grabbing this thing, and basically ziplining down. Like it's kind of a cool move. Is it
it's very James Bond,
right?
Like something James Bond would do.
Oh yeah, it's pretty badass. But it's also it is a bit anticlimactic. Like this dude, it's the good guy escaping the good guys. You know what I mean? It's weird. The foreshadowing for the payoff of Howard at the end of the movie for Cliff of like he shows up in the new GB and gives it to him, and it sets up for that nice moment at the end. But ultimately, that whole scene is just kind of meh.
Especially that last shot, like after he lets go of the plane, there's like 4 or 5 seconds of like no sound. And you just see like the white plane,
it's beautiful,
like, exiting, like nothing going on. Like what?
It's a beautiful.
So funny.
I want to cut to Monty Python where they're talking about Camelot, and then Patsy's just like it's just a model. Yeah. That's how I feel of this thing. Like the plane takes off, it's gliding so smooth and slowly in the dark of night. It's only a model. Like who cares? It is cool, but it's like
yeah.
If this movie had like Marvel budget kind of stuff that they could do, and I wouldn't want them to blast this thing with CGI and crap. I'm not looking for Marvel effects because honestly I like these effects as is, and they did simple techniques of everything. So I would love to see it.
A scene I really liked as we're kind of approaching the end a little bit. I really liked the swap scene when the good guys meet up with the Nazis and they're like swapping the jetpack for Jenny. I thought that scene was played pretty well. The thing that really got me though, all the like German soldiers like coming out of the bushes, like they were all just like hiding, like waiting there until they were called. I don't know why that was funny to me. It's just like I don't know.
No, they do that in movies all the time, right? Where it's like, yeah, we're getting the ambush on you. Oh, you think you're getting the ambush on me? Well, I'm getting the ambush on your ambush. And it's like those moments feel so silly because that's literally what it is. Is like you're telling me these people were just hiding in the bushes for
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
like they've just been sitting in the bushes for hours waiting for like the.
Well,
It's like
that
we play
and,
hide and seek with your niece, and like you've been hiding in the closet for like too long, and you're just like, I just need to get out so I can. And then she's like on the couch watching TV. You're like,
I thought we were playing hide and seek.
well, I mean, not only in the bushes, but the other question is, where were you hiding that Zeppelin? It just shows up over the damn observatory, and you're like, where the fuck is that been?
Yeah, were they just inflating it like before? Like,
there's the ground crew down on the bottom. He said he'll be ready in 30 minutes.
yeah.
There was actually some foreshadowing about the Zeppelin.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Well, when they are in the movie theater to watch the new Neville Sinclair movie, and the newsreel is going, it's talking about this Zeppelin, and it's saying it's on its world tour, and it's going to hit up these cities, and it's going to end its tour in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah,
so like
okay.
it does foreshadow that this blimp is the Zeppelin is on its way. It's weird that it gets there so fast.
Yeah, and like right on time.
I mean, what was it doing? Just hovering building level?
Yes. Yes.
It was very like Spaceballs, like just the way it like comes in, it just like took forever like to come into the scene.
It's a Zeppelin. They're not fast.
Overall, I thought the ending was definitely full of action. I mean, you know, Matt, you already talked about explosions, but this was a massive explosion of the Zeppelin just going up in flames because of a flare gun, because of an emotional female. That just tends to be a trope sometimes.
She was so great right up until that moment, right?
It's like let's lose our heat and, you know, shoot a flare gun in a helium filled apparatus. What could go wrong? And then like I liked how they kind of made what was tall dude's name, or the big guy, Volt something, Lothor.
Lothor.
I like how they made him fairly difficult to take down and kill. You know, it was kind of funny just watching him. He's like about to attack Cliff, but he's like, hang on, let me just get this safety belt on first. You know, safety first, of course, Cliff, you understand.
It's funny, right? Like you said, it's safety first, yet somehow that's actually the Achilles.
The thing that takes him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then finally, just that whole Zeppelin is basically going up in flames, layer on layer on layer on layer, and then here comes Howard Hughes to the rescue, drop the ladder. That was good, really really good action sequence going on there.
I have a weird nitpick about the ladder drop with the plane.
Oh, let's hear it.
I don't know how physics works, or maybe I know how physics works. But with an airplane, you can't just stop like a helicopter. Did you notice that when they rolled the ladder down, and like the ladder is stationary?
I thought the plane was moving the whole way.
Was it? It looked like it was stationary. Like
no, yeah, because planes don't hover.
Right. It just maybe I need to watch it again. I really liked this part when Neville, you know, takes off with the jetpack, and then it's leaking and it explodes on him.
Yeah.
I love that he like falls and he crushes the Hollywoodland sign. Yeah. and it turns from Hollywoodland to Hollywood, and I was like, oh, that's how they got Hollywood.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Like that was just like pure satire, obviously, but it's
there have been other movies that have done that, and I kind of like it. It's funny to me.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
Okay, so I'm staring at the thing right now, I think this plane would technically be capable of hovering because the propeller is above. It's got a propeller to push it forward and a propeller to raise it up.
Does it?
Yep. So I'm looking at it right now. It's got like a big ass propeller above too. So it's like
Maybe I didn't notice that part.
But it's moving. No, they catch it while it's moving.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I will say though, like as it's like pulling them up though, it does look stationary. Like it's pulling it up, but it doesn't look like it's moving forward, just up. So I'll say that it does look weird. But they do catch it on the move.
Okay, so maybe it's just the fact that it was going up a little bit. And I was like, planes don't do that.
Well, it's the problem of the angle because you can see the Zeppelin blowing up underneath them, but the Zeppelin isn't moving. So it does look like they're just moving upward, not forward. These are the things that I'd really like to see in like a reboot or a remake of anything of the Rocketeer. Of get some good fight scenes. Like I would love a story that does feel a lot more espionage, like real Indiana Jones and James Bond's like, but with good action. I mean, I think he holds the gun one time and he fires and like boom, and it's out of his hand. So now he doesn't have the gun anymore. And I assume that's more or less a Disney, we don't want our hero to use a gun kind of thing. I wanna see a fighter. I want to see the Rocketeer who can fight, and it does make me laugh that Jen keeps popping in and out of existence. Especially since it looks like when she pops into existence, she's asleep. But yeah, I really enjoy this scene. It's high octane, it's fun, and it actually has a little bit of humor thrown in. And it's great. It's a really fun fight sequence, and I want better, bigger ones for this if they do a remake and stuff. But the actual ending scene of him getting the plane and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
What a fucking power move by Hughes too, right? Like,
yeah, shout out to Hughes.
I'm just gonna casually land my plane here, walk out, have a little conversation, and oh, by the way, that's your plane now. Here's my car.
Here's the keys.
Check you later. Yeah, check you later. You drive off. Like, what the fuck? This guy.
Yeah.
Like, what a power move.
And I love that Jenny has the plans. Like she gives the plans back.
Jenny is a real one.
She's such a babe. She's she's a keeper.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
Jennifer Connelly was fantastic in this movie. Playing and Jenny's character was just perfect. I mean, you couldn't help but not like her. You're just like, whatever, protect her, keep her safe, whatever she wants, let her have it. I mean, it just really well done.
Like, she is desirable. Like, she just, man, yeah.
And talk about looking the 1930s look.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Wow.
Pulled it off so well.
Wow.
Jennifer Connelly is a beautiful woman, and she pulls off any style, right? 1930, she's got the hair, the bright red lips, the dress. Like, hell yeah. Damn, put this woman in any decade, she's gonna look gorgeous.
Yep.
Just beautiful eyes too. My God. They're like hazel green.
We don't need to let's not start hashing about how gorgeous Jennifer Connelly is, because then we're just gonna be drooling. But
we haven't talked about her enough, so I just want to.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Let's just not make it about how pretty she is.
Yeah,
because it's true, she is. But she is. I will say she's the most solid, performance throughout. She has what I love about her character is she's got like this soft.
Well, with the exception of Dalton.
Well, sure. I'll throw a little bit of fault out towards the end when his German accent becomes more solid, but not solid. Like, he does a good job of going German for a good while, but there's a couple of moments where just the Englishman comes out again, and it's like, okay,
I'll give you that.
But just Jennifer Connelly, she's absolutely phenomenal the whole way through, and like you said, I love her character. The only bad thing about her is shooting that flare gun. And that, in my opinion, I'm like, that's.
Come on, Jenny.
See, that's the thing. I don't see that as a Jenny mistake. I see that as a writer mistake. Like, give her a reason to fire this thing, because she's not an idiot. She would know that this thing is flammable.
Oh, good call.
Extremely flammable.
This one I like. I think it's Cliff and Peeve. Cliff says to Peeve, he says, "You haven't had a date since 1932."
Oh.
And then Peeve pauses. He goes, "Flora Maxwell, why would you need to date anyone once you've dated her?" Or something like that. I can't remember what he said.
No point in dating after dating her.
Yeah. But in 1932, that was like 6 years before. I was like, damn, she must have been worth it.
What makes me wonder what happened to her?
Yeah, yeah. Was she the one that got away? You know?
I got Cliff. I could fly a shoebox if it had wings. So my last one is go get him, kid. God, the way he delivered that, I'm like, nice.
Was that Alan?
No, that was Eddie, the nicest mobster ever.
Just because you are a bad guy does not mean you are a bad guy.
What do we think the quote of the movie is?
Oh, Jesus.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yes, thank you.
Terrible.
I'm sticking with my whole I may not make an honest living, but I'm still an American.
Yeah, I may not make an honest buck, but I'm 100% American.
That's my line.
You think that's the one?
That's my line.
I was torn between that or the I could fly a shoebox if it had wings, because that's kind of the theme of.
It's a good one too.
Yeah.
In relation to movie club and what we do when like and how we talk about movies, did anybody else relate to Jenny when she's trying to explain this movie to these guys that are just guys, they don't understand the subtleties of story, and they're like oh yeah, where'd you get the champagne? Oh yeah, I just like, this is a bullshit, like just totally trashing this guy for what was done in this movie is just absolutely ridiculous. And she's trying to explain, I was like, no, like it's the content, it's the context, it's the subtext, it's what's underneath. It's like he's doing this for a reason. It's chivalry.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, I don't say, I don't know. Like you know, it's she's trying to critique this movie and look at it as an artistic piece of work.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it as just face value of like, well, that's stupid. Why would he do that? And no one?
No.
I was agreeing.
Well, I'm just like, okay, I got one. I'm like, nobody else felt like Jenny in that moment with our movie club and how we talk about movies.
You try talking to my wife about a movie. Of course I'm going to agree with you.
Anybody want to go first for final thoughts? Who won the movie? I want to let Jen go so she can just dip out. She's crashing.
Yeah, it's crashing hard.
She disappeared so hard she faded to stars.
About that Tennessee honey.
No, good point.
Yeah, Jen, you're one in a million.
1 in a million. Anybody else go to this congeniality?
Of course.
Right, yeah. If you know it through a wall, you know it too well. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, thank you.
I forgot the tone though.
Shut up. Great movie. Good talk. PV wins the movie. And I chose that before I knew that he died. That's it.
Mic drop.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Nick. I think you wanted to go next.
I'm so tired.
Shut up, I lost him.
That was such a genuine shut up too. I love it.
It's a little
Shut up.
it's a prick little sister shut up is what that is.
Oh my god. Dying.
Oh man. Final thoughts. This film, it's good. It's fun. I like the Disney feel to it. Even though it's got some characters and plot lines that they would probably never do today.
You don't know.
It's a fun movie.
Cool.
That's it. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Who wins it?
I think like the theme of just like imagination and like childlike wonder of just the whole idea of a Rocketeer. I think that's what really sells this movie for me.
Okay.
Because it's just cool to like be like, whoa, people can fly. You know, like that's such a like a child like thought. You know, that's like the most exciting. I think that this movie does encapsulate that pretty well.
I still wish I could fly.
Who would want a jetpack? Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah.
Me having a jetpack is I would absolutely Icarus in myself and fly too close to the sun. My wings would melt and I'd crash and die.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah.
Let's try to be a little subtle about it, but yeah. Matt with a jetpack kills himself.
Yeah.
I'm really realizing after doing this for almost 3 years, by the time we get to final thoughts, I don't really have final thoughts. So I might just skip them and just go straight to who won the movie. So who won the movie is, I'm going to do my runner up is going to be Gum. Really just phenomenal role in this one. You know,
Would you
really
say the Gum was a character?
I'm sorry?
Oh,
Would you say
absolutely.
that the Gum was a character?
Oh, Gum was certainly a character. Are you kidding me? Held the fort down, kept people from blowing up, blew the right person up. Gum did a great job.
Sacrificed itself.
But the person that takes the win on this one, it's the one that just had me completely fixated to the screen anytime she was present, anytime she was doing her thing. The way that she looked, you know, the way that she acted with her body and her delivery, she just, every scene she just lit it up, and I couldn't not see anyone else in that role except for her, and it's Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
She would have been my number 2 for sure. My honorable mention.
The honorable mention.
Yeah. No.
I'm gonna say my honorable mention would be PV. Second place is going to be Timothy Dalton, because let's just face it, he has a phenomenal performance. He's pretty solid all the way through. He's got the bit of charisma. He's got the creep factor. He
plays a great villain.
He is. He's a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's intimidating the whole time. I mean, the guy feels like a threat. He's sneaky. It's just, yeah, great villain. But ultimately, who wins for me? I agree, Jennifer Connelly. She's absolutely phenomenal. She fits so well into this character and into this time period, into this world. She's absolutely phenomenal. And what a great character. I mean, this girl is way too good for Cliff, and I hope he freaking knows it. Just, she's absolutely phenomenal, start to finish. Every moment she's on screen, it's like, yeah, I'm can't take my eyes off you. Yeah. And that's why there's those moments where Sinclair, it's like, I don't know if he's being genuine with his attractions and everything towards her, or if this is all just a ruse. She outacts the best, you know, like, I'm sorry, she outacts the third best. And that's going to wrap it up, I think, for The Rocketeer by GoodFlickas. Jen, who is applauding because she can go to bed now. And absolutely. So on our way out, check us out. Check us out here on Twitch on Mondays for the live shows. You can check us out on Instagram at good.flickas. And soon you'll be able to find us on YouTube. We will have videos up ASAP. So you guys can see some older shows and everything. And hopefully you can tell your friends, and we'll see more people here for the live show. If you have any suggestions or anything, you can always email us at goodflickas2020@gmail.com. And we'll see you again next week. Where who's got our pick? Is it Jen? Do you have pick for next week?
I need help.
Okay.
3 in mind, and they're all different, like completely different. So what's the vibe we want to go with? All right. So there's
3.
A Walk
Become a 3, my lord.
A Walk to Remember, Gotti. Yeah, let's get our hands bloody and see Gotti.
Gotti. All right. What's Gotti streaming on?
On Hulu.
Hulu. All right. Yeah, check us out next week where we will be talking about Gotti, which is streaming on Hulu. It's an interesting one. Are we good, guys? I think we've crushed it. This has been a wonderful talk. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, everybody who stuck with us for this long. I know it was a long one, but we did it, and that's us. No regrets. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and send it over to Brian and close us out.
It's time for us to Gotti go, and
Fun movie.
we got to go.
I like the pun. I get it. I like that.
But if things are broken, we hear that gum is very helpful in fixing things. Go buy your gum. We'll see you next week.
Stay lucky, my friends.
God, that was real bad.
That was terrible.
That was a little weak, man.
That was terrible.
It was a weak movie.
Go.
I don't know what to tell you.
Go.
It didn't give me a lot of content.
Where did I go? That was my first thought, guys. When I disappeared, I almost said, "Where'd I go?"
This podcast is brought to you by Beeman's Gum, the gum that no longer exists.